So I'm standing in this crappy mud brick house, and my future mother-in-law Lu Dajiao is screaming at me about bride price money. 100 yuan. In 1960, when city workers make like 20 yuan a month. Lady, are you out of your mind? But here's the thing. I'm not the same Luo Yinchuan anymore. I just got reborn. Came back to July 10th, 1960. The exact day I went to propose to Zhang Xiaomei with a chicken and 50 yuan cash. Last life. Oh, last life was a disaster. I actually agreed to this insane bride price because I was head over heels for Zhang Xiaomei. Worst decision I ever made. That woman married me and immediately turned into a money vacuum, sucked every single coin out of my family and funneled it straight to her parents. My dad went hunting to pay off debts and fell into a trap and died. My mom went blind from sewing all night to make ends meet and passed away too. And the cherry on top? Zhang Xiaomei was cheating on me the whole time. The 2 kids I thought were mine? Not mine. Then she framed me, got me thrown in prison, took everything, and ran off with her lover. I died in that cell full of rage. But now I'm back, baby. So when Lu Dajiao demands her 100 yuan, I just smile and go, nah, I'm good. Even if every woman on earth disappeared, I still wouldn't marry your daughter. Lu Dajiao's face goes dark. She's shaking. Because she knows, nobody else is paying that kind of money for Zhang Xiaomei either. Then I hit them with the real move. Since we're not getting married, let's settle up. All that rice, flour, and ration tickets your daughter borrowed from me, I want it all back. Zhang Xiaomei turns white. They never planned to return any of that. She squeezes out some fake tears. Cloud-san, you're just saying things out of anger, right? Just apologize to my mom and we can forget about this. Girl, I'm not marrying you. And you want me to apologize to your mom? Are you insane? Then I pull out the ultimate weapon for 1960. I start talking loud so all the nosy neighbors can hear. Your family only cares about money. You're worse than old society landlords. I'm starting to think you people might be enemy agents trying to sabotage the people's unity. The crowd goes wild. In this era, getting called an enemy agent is basically a death sentence. People start yelling to report the Zhang family. Lu Dajiao is shaking like a leaf and immediately caves. We'll return everything. Everything. Just give us time. Mission accomplished. I head back to my village. I will get every last thing back from them. But right now I just want to see my parents again. This time around, I'm giving them a good life. And then, a voice pops up in my head. Ding. Super Hunter system bound. Ding. Newbie gift pack received. Ding. 3 special attribute points. Ding. System space unlocked. Ding. Storage space, 10 cubic meters. Oh hell yes. I got the golden finger too. This second life is already looking way better than the first one. Right, so first things first. I checked out this Super Hunter system properly. Basically, once it's active, I get perfect hunting skills. Every technique, every method, instantly downloaded into my brain. Doesn't matter how dangerous the animal is, I can hunt it flawlessly. And every time I pull off a perfect hunt, I get more special attribute points. I can use those points to buff myself, buff animals, or even upgrade weapons. Plus, once I collect 10 points total, I unlock a hunter shop. So the more I hunt, the stronger I get. Simple math. But the real prize? The system space. It's basically a little farm dimension, about 2 acres total, with 1 acre of rich black soil. There's a spirit spring next to it, small one, maybe the size of a big round table. The spring water makes plants and animals grow faster and better, and if humans drink it, it's basically a health elixir. The time flow inside is 365 times faster than outside. 1 year in there equals 1 day out here. And there's a separate 10 cubic meter storage area where time literally doesn't exist. Stuff goes in fresh, comes out fresh. Forever. Yeah, I hit the jackpot. But first, my body is weak. So I immediately spent 1 attribute point on myself. Instantly felt this warm current flowing through my whole body. Walking home felt effortless. I could tell I was already stronger than the experienced hunters in the village. When I got home, Dad was sitting outside the gate sunbathing. I told him about the failed proposal, and his face just crumbled. He wasn't angry at me. He was angry at himself for not being able to afford 100 yuan. Mom came out too, looking worried, and said something that nearly broke me. Don't take it to heart. If you really like a girl, we'll support you fully. Money isn't the issue. Your happiness is what matters most. These two. Last life, they literally died because of my stupid decisions. And here they are, still only thinking about me. I grabbed their hands and told them straight, Mom, Dad, I'm not marrying her. Plenty of good girls out there. And I promise, I'm going to give you both the good life you deserve. They laughed and got a little teary. Dad said he was relieved I'd grown up. To celebrate, I killed that old hen I'd brought for the proposal and made chicken soup with vegetable noodles. Best meal we'd had in a while. Next morning, before dawn, I caught Dad strapping on his longbow and grabbing beast traps, getting ready to go on a mountain run with the village hunting party. Mountain running is what they call it. Basically, groups of villagers go deep into the forest to hunt and gather wild food. With the famine going on, everything close by had already been stripped clean, even tree bark. So they had to go deep into territory where wild boars, venomous snakes, black bears, and even tigers lived. People got hurt every time. Sometimes people died. Sometimes entire groups never came back. And I know exactly how Dad dies on one of these runs. Not happening this time. Dad, let me go instead. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Sure, he'd taught me to use a bow before, but just for fun. I couldn't actually hunt anything with my skill level. He thought I was being reckless because of the Zhang Xiaomei rejection and flat out refused. It's too dangerous. I didn't argue. I just walked over and stripped all his gear off him. Bow, arrows, traps, and put it all on myself. I got this. Don't worry about it. Before leaving, I had one attribute point left, so I put it into the longbow. On the outside, nothing changed. But the second I pulled that bowstring, oh man. The precision, the range, the raw power, everything jumped up a whole level. Just 1 point did that. If I stack more points on this thing, it'll be absolutely broken. I headed to the village hall where the hunting party was gathering. About a dozen young men from the village, led by the village secretary Uncle Luo Guohua. He spotted me and raised an eyebrow. Yinchuan, where's your dad? He's getting old, Uncle Guohua. I'm taking over from today. Before he could even respond, some guy my age piped up with the snarkiest tone. You? The pampered young master? Do you even know how to use a bow? Don't drag us all down and get us killed. I looked over and, of course, it was Luo Dongliang running his mouth. This guy is about my age and used to compete with me for Zhang Xiaomei. When he heard our engagement fell through yesterday, he got all excited thinking he could swoop in. His whole plan for today was to show off during the hunt and impress her. But I'm mentally a grown man who lived decades already. Getting riled up by some kid? Please. I could literally be this dude's father in terms of mental age. Uncle Guohua shut him down fast though. Luo Dongliang, what kind of garbage are you spewing? Then he actually turned to all four directions and started praying to the mountain gods, asking them to ignore the stupid words of this little brat. Around here, people respect the mountains. You do not jinx a hunt. Dongliang went quiet real quick after that. Guohua told me the rules. Since it's my first time, just watch and learn. Don't try to be a hero, follow orders. I nodded like a good boy. Then he laid out the split for everyone. 50% of everything goes to the government, 30% to the collective, and the remaining 20% gets divided based on individual performance. That's just how it works in this era. And off we went. A whole squad heading toward Qingyun Mountain behind the village. Past that mountain is the Biling Range, real primeval forest territory with tigers, bears, and wolf packs. Nobody from our village goes that deep. We stick to Qingyun Mountains area. It's summer, so the vegetation is thick and the animals are active. But around the village itself, everything's been picked clean. Not even tall grass left. The famine hit that hard. Once we entered the mountain, one of the younger guys got all excited asking about wild ginseng. Guohua laughed and said, yeah, it grows here, but the good stuff takes 10 years to mature, and with hunts organized every 2 weeks, finding any is pure luck. I spotted some white kogon grass flowering by a stream and pulled up a bunch. The roots taste sweet. Kids around here treat them like candy. Plus, it's actually medicinal, good for cooling down and quenching thirst. The other guys immediately copied me and stripped that whole patch clean, washing the roots in the creek and munching as we walked. A bit further, we found a whole area covered in wild raspberries, little red berries, sour sweet and delicious. Even the thick stems are edible if you peel off the thorny skin. Crunchy, juicy, and fragrant. Everyone was in good spirits. Guohua said the mountain gods were blessing us today, and we'd definitely go home with full bags. Then one guy stepped right into a hidden hole full of dung and nearly twisted his ankle. Everyone burst out laughing while he swore his head off. I helped him up, but as I did, something clicked. These holes in the ground were big, basketball-sized. Only wild boars leave marks like that. And the dung inside was still wet and soft, no dried leaves covering it. These tracks were fresh. Everyone, wild boars. They're close, I shouted. Nobody believed me at first. Dong Liang was already opening his mouth to mock me again. Then we all heard it, rustling and movement coming from deeper in the trees. Every single person tensed up instantly. The experienced hunters all went pale the moment they heard the noise. Uncle Guohua started yelling, "Find the thickest trees and climb. The thicker the tree, the safer you are." Everyone scrambled. But the wild boars were fast. They burst out of the dense forest before half the guys had even found their trees. And when we finally got a clear look at what we were dealing with, 3 adult boars plus 3 piglets, Guohua's face dropped. Wild boars protecting babies are insanely aggressive. This was bad, really bad. The boars came charging through, smashing bushes, snapping small trees like twigs. Some of the faster guys and the experienced hunters made it up the trees in time, but a few of the slower ones were stumbling around in a panic, seconds away from getting gored. Right when everyone thought we were about to see blood everywhere, I let an arrow fly, hit the boar right in the butt. The thing let out the most pitiful scream you ever heard. Uncle Guohua snapped his eyes open, saw the arrow sticking out of the boar's rear end, traced the shot back to me, sitting up in a tree with my legs locked around the trunk, already loading the next arrow. His eye twitched, but he couldn't help being impressed. He shouted to everyone, "Do what Yinchuan did. Shoot back. These animals think they can bully us? Kill them." Then he pulled out his hunting rifle and managed to shoot another boar. Blood sprayed everywhere, and it collapsed, twitching on the ground. And that's when Dong Liang decided to be a hero. This genius saw the boar I'd shot in the butt was still wobbling around wounded, and his eyes lit up with greed. He jumped straight down from his tree, pulled out a knife, and ran toward it. His brilliant plan: finish it off and claim the work points for himself. He'd never dare steal credit from Guohua, but stealing from me? Oh, he had plenty of nerve for that. Guohua was screaming, "Dong Liang, what the hell are you doing? Get back here." Too late. Dong Liang was already standing over the wounded boar with his knife out, thinking he had it made. Except he completely underestimated how tough wild boars are. That, dying, boar suddenly kicked up with explosive force and launched Dong Liang flying through the air. He sailed several meters and landed, I kid you not, right on top of a baby boar. The piglets squealed bloody murder. The 2 remaining adult boars? Enraged, they charged straight at Dong Liang. Dong Liang's face went white as paper. He scrambled to his feet, crawling and rolling, and somehow managed to climb a tree. But the boars kept ramming the trunk over and over, shaking it so hard I thought the whole thing might snap. Dong Liang was hugging that tree for dear life, using every ounce of strength, including muscles he didn't even know he had. Meanwhile, I calmly drew my bow again. First shot was a test. This second one, precision kill. The arrow hit perfectly. The boar dropped. Ding. Killed adult wild black mountain boar. Special attribute, .1. Nice. So between Guohua's rifle kill and my bow kill, that was 2 adult boars down. The last adult and the piglets finally got scared enough to bolt. I watched the direction they ran, but didn't chase. No need to push our luck. Crisis over. Everyone climbed down, hearts still pounding, and gathered around the 2 boar carcasses. Guohua came over and saw me quietly pulling my arrows out of the dead boar. He clapped my shoulder and said, "Nice shooting, kid. Your dad clearly taught you well." Everyone was praising me. Everyone except Dong Liang. That guy had the audacity to limp over and whine. If I hadn't distracted the boars, Yinchuan would never have gotten that clean shot. My injuries were basically a sacrifice for the team. I deserve at least half the work points for that boar. Half. That boar was worth 10 work points, 10 days of labor. And this clown wanted 5 for nearly getting us all killed. Before I could even respond, Guohua ripped into him. "You shameless dog. You almost got every single one of us killed. If Yinchuan hadn't been a good shot, you'd be the one lying there dead right now." Dong Liang wouldn't back down, though. "I don't care, I got hurt. I want my points." He was desperate to save up bride price money for Zhang Xiaomei, the girl I just rejected. "Have at it, buddy." Then suddenly one of the younger guys shouted, "Hey, What's that? Another one yelled. Dongliang, don't move. There's a bamboo pit viper right above your head, flicking its tongue. The bamboo pit viper was perfectly camouflaged, bright green body wrapped around a green branch, practically invisible. And it was already flicking its tongue, which means it was sizing up its prey and getting ready to strike. These things are venomous. Best case scenario, you're puking and passing out. Worst case, dead. Guowa's face went dark. As team leader, any casualties fall on him. He quietly gave orders. Dongliang, don't move. Everyone else, back away slowly. Then he looked around. Who can shoot the snake? You have to hit the head. One shot, one kill. If you miss, it'll strike Dongliang before you can reload. Every single pair of eyes turned to me. I mean, fair. I'd just show off my archery. But this snake is literally thumb thick, and snakes attack in like 50 milliseconds. Humans blink in 200 milliseconds. So I'd need to hit a moving target the width of a thumb from several meters away in 1/3 of an eye blink. No pressure. Dongliang was drenched in sweat, frozen stiff, barely even breathing. The guys around me were whispering among themselves. Think Yunchuan will even bother? Those two hate each other. If I were him, I'd sit this one out. If he misses the snake and hits Dongliang instead, that would be something. If he does nothing and the snake bites Dongliang, it's not his problem. But if he tries and accidentally kills Dongliang, now that's a mess. Real supportive crowd I've got here. Guowa looked at me. It's on you, kid. I took a deep breath, pulled out an arrow, set it on the bow. The moment I raised the bow, that feeling kicked in again. The super hunter system flooding my brain with calculations, trajectories, wind speed, everything. I could see the exact spot to hit. My confidence went through the roof. 100% accuracy, guaranteed. Then I tried to pull the bowstring. And couldn't. My arms wouldn't cooperate. Shooting all those arrows at the boars earlier had burned through my stamina. Pulling a bow with ox tendon string isn't some casual thing. You need serious strength to bend the whole wooden bow. And my body was basically running on empty. So there I was, a theoretical genius archer who could calculate the exact trajectory of someone spitting at him, but physically couldn't dodge it. Maximum knowledge, zero muscle power. Fantastic. I could feel everyone watching. Some expecting a miracle, some expecting entertainment. Dongliang had his eyes closed in despair. He didn't trust my aim anyway, and was probably more scared of getting shot by me than bitten by the snake. If I couldn't pull this off, this whole hunt was over. And both me and Dad would be humiliated in the village. Then it hit me, my attribute points. I still had 2 left. I immediately dumped 1 more into my body. A warm current rushed through every inch of me. Suddenly, I felt incredible. The 4-pound bow felt like a chopstick. The bowstring that had been impossible to pull, effortless. Theory and practice, finally united. The arrow on my bow felt like it had a laser sight attached. I could have hit the target with my eyes closed. Meanwhile, the viper was getting impatient. Its tongue flicking sped up, its body coiled tighter, getting closer to Dongliang's neck. It was compressing like a spring, ready to launch. It's about to attack. YUNCHUAN shoot. Are you aiming or not? Guowa hissed at them. Shut up. He needs to concentrate. Everyone went silent. Some of Dongliang's friends had their fists clenched so tight their veins were popping. I stood perfectly still. Statue mode. Bow drawn, arrow ready, not moving a single muscle. Dongliang's forehead was a waterfall of sweat. His clothes were completely soaked through. His legs were shaking uncontrollably. He could practically feel the snake's disgusting forked tongue brushing his scalp. The rotten smell was making him gag. Then the viper made a sound, pulled its body back like a compressed spring, and launched itself straight at Dongliang's neck. Everyone screamed, and I released. The arrow flew, aimed straight at Dongliang's forehead. Mommy, Dongliang saw my arrow coming straight at his face, and his entire body just gave up. His legs went jelly, he collapsed onto the ground. And, how do I put this delicately? Everything came out. Everything. From everywhere. Everyone watching thought I'd just shot Dongliang in the forehead. They were horrified. But here's what actually happened in that split second. Dongliang ducked down. The viper launched its whole body off the branch at the exact same moment, and my arrow threaded perfectly through the gap, punched right through the snake's head, and pinned it to a tree 10 meters away. Dead on arrival. Ding. Killed bamboo pit viper. Special attribute, .1. It all happened so fast that people didn't even process it for a solid few seconds. Then someone ran to Dong Liang yelling his name, expecting to find a corpse. Nope, he was sitting on the ground, skull fully intact, staring into space like his soul had left his body. Then the smell hit everyone. What is that stench? Dong Liang, did you seriously just? Dong Liang was completely zoned out. Guo Hua slapped him on top of the head and snapped. Get up. You embarrassment. Dong Liang blinked back to life, looked around in disbelief, and whispered, I'm alive. Then he smelled it, looked around accusingly. Who went to the bathroom out here? That's disgusting. Everyone just stared at him. He looked down. The silence was deafening. Guo Hua barked, Go wash yourself off. You disgrace. And Dong Liang waddled away, clenching everything, heading for the nearest stream. Meanwhile, someone asked where the snake went. I just pointed at the tree. They walked over and saw it. Arrow straight through the skull, pinned to the bark, completely dead. Guo Hua gave me a huge thumbs up. Incredible. The snake's head is barely bigger than the arrowhead, and you hit it mid-strike. That's not skill. That's divine. Everyone who knew anything about archery understood how impossible that shot was. Not just the accuracy, hitting a thumb-sized target moving at lightning speed, but the mental pressure. One chance. Miss, and Dong Liang dies. But I nailed it. After that, every young guy in the group was looking at me like I was some kind of legend. Guo Hua calmed everyone down and made the call. 2 wild boars is a huge haul. We had some close calls today, so let's head back. Grab wild vegetables on the way. We'll stew them with the pig innards for a big pot meal and dry the rest of the meat. Normally these hunts bring back rabbits and pheasants. 2 full-grown boars. That's a massive score. Then Guo Hua turned to me. Yin Xuan, today was all because of you. The viper is your personal reward. Plus 5 work points for saving Dong Liang, and the boar kill points on top of that. You earned 15 work points in one day. 15. That's half a month of regular labor. Everyone was drooling with envy. I pulled my arrow out of the tree, wrapped the dead viper in straw, and tossed it in my bamboo basket. The others cut down 2 small trees and tied up the boars to carry them down. Dong Liang came back from his bath with wet clothes and found out we were leaving. He didn't say a word the whole way back. After publicly soiling himself, he couldn't look anyone in the eye. On the way down, we filled our baskets with wild vegetables and berries and cut some big logs for firewood. The second we reached the village entrance, farmers spotted us carrying those 2 massive boars and went crazy. People came running to help. Back at the village hall, the boars were laid out on the table. News spread instantly. Within minutes, the whole place was packed. 2 boars. They're back already, and they got 2 boars. We're eating meat tonight. Too bad wild boar doesn't have much fat, though. Yeah, in this era, fat is more popular than lean meat. Fat can be rendered into cooking oil, makes bland vegetable soup and plain rice taste 100 times better, and fills you up longer. Nobody here complains about fatty meat being too greasy. Dad pushed through the crowd and immediately asked the right question. You ran into a whole group of wild boars? How did nobody die? Old hunter instincts. He knew 2 boars could easily wipe out the entire hunting party. Guo Hua threw his arm around Dad's shoulder and grinned. Brother, let me tell you about your incredible son. His archery? I don't know what you taught him, but the kid is a god with a bow. Dad looked completely confused. I barely taught him the basics. He never even took it seriously. What do you mean he's a god? A crowd of curious villagers gathered around, all begging Guo Hua to tell the story. Back at the village hall, the place was buzzing. One side had people butchering the boars and firing up the big stoves. The other side had Uncle Guo Hua sitting on a stool, legs crossed, telling the story of our hunt like he was performing a one-man show. You should have seen Dong Liang. The boar wasn't even dead yet, and this idiot jumps down to steal work points. Almost got gored to death. Lucky Yin Xuan put an arrow right in the boar's backside. I'm marking Dong Liang as absent today, 0 points for him. The crowd went nuts on Dong Liang. His own dad was there, nodding furiously, promising to beat some sense into his son when he got home. Dong Liang heard every word but kept his mouth shut. Hard to argue when you almost got everyone killed. Some young guy piped up. Wait, you actually hit a running boar in the butt with an arrow? That's impossible. Guo Hua puffed up like an angry bullfrog. You doubting my word? Go look at the butt yourself. It hasn't been cooked yet. He deliberately left out the viper story, though. Smart man. He'd already given me the snake as a personal reward, and if too many people knew about it, someone might complain. Better to keep it quiet. The two big wood fire stoves were roaring now. Boar head getting blanched, innards cleaned out, two huge basins full, mixed with wild vegetables and cooked into porridge for the whole village. Everyone was eating good today. That's when I sidled up to Dad and whispered, "Hey, let's go home for lunch. We still have 2 genes of soybeans at home. I'm really craving soybeans." Dad looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "There's free pork today, and you want to go home and eat soybeans from our emergency stash? Are you trying to bankrupt us?" I grinned. "Uncle Guohua wants soybeans too." "Right, Uncle Guohua." Guohua caught on immediately. He knew I wanted to stew the viper with soybeans. Snake and soybean soup is a delicacy. He started practically drooling. "Oh, absolutely. I've been craving soybeans for ages. Stewed until they're nice and mushy? Nothing better." Dad couldn't refuse a village cadre, so he caved. Fine. Get your mother. We'll go home and stew soybeans." Guohua told them to save us 2 bowls of pig innards for dinner. Then he went around recording everyone's work points and ordered the kitchen crew to smoke dry the legs, belly, and ribs for storage. When we got home, I finally pulled the dead viper out of my basket. Dad nearly jumped out of his skin. Where did that come from? Then it clicked. That's why I wanted to go home. I had good stuff to cook privately, and that's why I invited Guohua. The man gave me the snake as a personal bonus outside the collective share. If he's sitting at our table eating it with us, nobody on the hunting team will dare complain. Plus, it makes Guohua see me as valuable for future hunts. More rewards down the line. See, the real game isn't about fighting, it's about relationships. Guohua then told Dad the full viper story, the snake on Dongliang's head, everyone frozen, me taking the impossible shot and nailing it through the skull mid-strike. Dad's face went from impressed to furious. Instead of praising me, he started lecturing. "Do you know how dangerous that was? What if you missed? You'd be responsible. What if you hit Dongliang? That's murder." Guohua's face went flat. I told him to take the shot. "You got a problem with that?" Dad shut up real quick. Mom smoothly defused things by calling Dad over to help chop the snake while the soybeans finished soaking. I hung up my bow and arrows on the wall. Looking at that longbow, I felt a little disappointed, honestly. It's decent with the attribute point boost, but the base quality is just too low. Pumping points into it feels wasteful. I eyed Guohua and asked casually, "Hey uncle, does the village have any more guns? Hook me up with one." He shut that down fast. "Kid, that's the only gun in the whole village. Plus you need a firearms permit. Without one, if someone reports you, you're going to prison." I dropped it, but honestly, the nationwide gun ban doesn't happen until the 90s. Right now there are guns everywhere in the countryside. Guohua was being dramatic. "I'll find a way to get one eventually." 2 hours later, the whole house smelled incredible. Soybean and viper stew, done to perfection. Now look, bamboo pit vipers are venomous, but the poison is concentrated in the head. The rest of the body, stewed long enough, is perfectly safe to eat. Mom served it up with grain pancakes on the side. Guohua took one sniff and was basically floating. "Sister-in-law, your cooking is amazing. You should work at the state-run restaurant in town. They've got government positions with proper grain rations." Mom got all shy about it, but I could tell she liked the idea. The snake meat was something else, like a mix between chicken and fish. Fish-level tenderness with chicken-level texture, shredded fibers, and all, paired with the soft, sweet local soybeans. Perfect combo. I remembered from my past life, I once made dragon phoenix soup, snake meat stewed with a whole chicken in pure pear juice, no water. Absolute heaven. But if I tried something that extravagant in 1960, I'd get labeled a capitalist sympathizer and shot. I sighed and said, "Man, a little wine would make this perfect." Guohua snorted. "Dream on. People are starving. The town supply store has no alcohol. The county supply store has no alcohol. Probably only the county government gets a few bottles a year. What if I brewed fruit wine and sold it? Seems like there'd be a huge market. With what? What fruit? People have eaten the tree bark off every decent tree. If there were fruit, it'd go straight into mouths, not into barrels." Fair point. But he also said if someone did manage to brew wine, it'd sell out instantly. Filed that away for later. We demolished that entire pot. Didn't even leave broth. Guohua burped, pushed back his bowl, and told me I had the afternoon off since we came back early. I decided to head into town. The township has a supply cooperative where you can buy daily necessities, and I'd heard there was also a black market somewhere, underground barter trading. Dad, I'm heading to town. I grabbed my bow and arrows off the wall, walked around a corner, and whoosh, straight into the system storage space. This thing is so useful. I could be carrying tons of stuff, and nobody would ever know. After an hour of walking, I reached the township. Government building, 3 stories, basketball court next to it. Supply cooperative across the intersection. The co-op was about 200 square meters. 3 glass counters arranged in a U shape, selling candy, sunflower seeds, flour, cooking oil, basic tools. Further back, they had fabric, brooms, baskets, carrying poles, kettles. A cute girl with a bob haircut smiled at me. "Welcome, comrade. What can I help you with?" "Just looking." I spotted some milk candies behind the counter and started drooling. But my pockets were completely empty. Not a single fun. I left feeling defeated. Gotta make money. Without money, forget about looking impressive. I can't even satisfy basic cravings. Problem is, everything requires ration tickets through official channels. Oil tickets for oil, cloth tickets for cloth, all strictly rationed. That's exactly why black markets exist. People's needs don't match their ticket allocations, so they trade privately. Time to find this black market. I circled the area for 2 hours and found absolutely nothing. Just the one supply co-op. As the sky started getting dark, I was about to give up and head home. Then I spotted 2 guys carrying burlap sacks over their shoulders, sneaking toward a tree-covered hillside. Interesting. I followed them quietly through a small grove of trees and came out into a clearing. Over 1,000 square meters of open space, surrounded by forest and hills, far from any farmland or houses. And people were steadily trickling in. This was the ghost market. Some showed up empty-handed, but wearing clothes without patches, obviously buyers with money. Most carried burlap sacks and wore yellowed tank tops, sellers. Let me be clear, private trading in this era is illegal. Get caught and you're a capitalist roader. Getting caught means getting shot. So everyone here? Hardcore risk takers. While I was watching from the edge, 2 guys suddenly appeared out of the shadows and boxed me in. Unfriendly faces. "Who are you?" They'd already cut off my escape route, one in front, one behind. I didn't panic, just smiled. "I'm here to sell something." "Sell something?" They looked at each other, relaxing slightly. "What are you selling?" "Show us." Which was a reasonable question, because everyone else had bags and bundles. I was standing there completely empty-handed. Not exactly convincing. I flipped my palm and, boom, a fresh wild ginseng root appeared in my hand. Pulled it straight out of the system space. 10-year-old wild mountain ginseng. Fresh. Anyone interested? I'd actually found this during the mountain run earlier, growing under a big tree. It was worth at least 10 work points if I turned it in. But work points are honestly kind of useless. Limited exchange options. No real way to make extra income. So I'd quietly dug it up with the surrounding soil and transplanted it straight into my system space farm. Nobody saw a thing. The 2 guards stared at my ginseng with hungry eyes. One of them reached for it. "Let me check if it's real." "Yeah, right." The second that ginseng leaves my hand on their turf, I'm never seeing it again. I pulled my hand back and the ginseng vanished into the system space. "You're not buying, so why are you touching?" "You think wild ginseng comes in fake versions?" That ticked them off. "Kid, what's your problem? Hand it over, or we'll make you." I smiled coldly. "So you're just going to rob me?" They dropped all pretense. "Yeah, we are. We run this place. Hand it over, or we'll kill you and dump your body in the valley for the wild dogs." Then they both came at me. These guys were well-fed, round faces, solid builds, clearly ate regularly while everyone else was starving. 2-on-1, they figured I was done. But I've got 2 attribute points in my body now. I look skinny, but I'm terrifyingly strong. Their punches came at me in what looked like slow motion. I caught both fists, one in each hand, like it was nothing. They were shocked, but tried again. 3 minutes later, both of them were on their knees begging. "Please stop hitting us. Still want to rob me?" "No. Never again. Can I go in and sell my stuff now?" They were nodding so hard I thought their heads would fall off. I asked about the rules. Turns out there basically aren't any. Barter, trade for ration tickets, trade for cash, whatever both parties agree on. Only rule is you need someone to introduce you to get in. So, without an introduction, I can't come here. The guy practically tripped over himself. "You can come. Anytime. Please, go right in, smart man." With my fighting ability, Who's going to stop me? Inside the ghost market, people were selling pretty standard stuff: wild chickens, rabbits, foraged herbs. Things you couldn't get much for through official channels. Some people were swapping ration tickets, grain tickets for cloth tickets, that kind of thing. True barter economy. The sellers saw me walking around empty-handed and assumed I was a buyer, pitching their goods eagerly. But I can get all this stuff from the mountains myself. Pass. After a full loop, I had a good picture. My 10-year ginseng could definitely fetch some grain and cloth tickets. Best case, a bicycle ticket. That would be incredible. Meanwhile, the two guys I'd beaten, nicknamed Number 5 and Number 6, had gone running to their boss. A guy called Brother Cohen. Someone forced his way in. Cohen's face went dark. Why didn't you stop him? I told you, anyone who doesn't follow rules, beat them to death and dump them in the ravine. Number 5 pointed at his bruised, swollen face. Does it look like we didn't try? We just couldn't beat him. Number 6 added miserably. Both of you couldn't take him? Cohen got worried. Thought maybe I was from the military department. He pulled a revolver out of his desk drawer, tucked it into his waistband, and said, "Let's go have a look." I was still strolling around, watching deals go down, learning how things worked. I even spotted someone I'd seen at the township government office earlier that afternoon, wearing a half-assed disguise. Lots of respectable people from town doing business here on the down low. I was just about to find a good spot to show off my ginseng when several guys surrounded me. Something hard pressed into the small of my back. A cold voice behind me. "New here, brother." I felt the gun against my back and kept it cool. "Yeah, new here. Let's have a chat somewhere." "Look, I've got 2 attribute points in my body, but I'm pretty sure that still doesn't make me bulletproof." So I went along quietly. They brought me to a small straw hut. Got properly introduced to Number 5, Number 6, and their boss, Brother Cohen. "What gang are you with?" Cohen asked. "No gang. Just a regular villager." Nobody bought that. A regular villager with those fighting skills. Country people do hard labor every day. A little brute strength is normal. Cohen asked what I wanted. I pulled out the wild ginseng. His eyes immediately lit up. The man clearly knew quality when he saw it. Turns out he'd been struggling to find good tribute items. See, a ghost market doesn't just exist on its own. It operates because powerful people behind the scenes protect it. And those powerful people need their cut in goods. His attitude softened considerably. "What do you want for it?" I pointed at his revolver. "That gun." His face went dark again. "Kid, you looking to get hurt?" "Fair enough. I was just testing the waters." "Kidding. 200 yuan. 200. For context, a pound of white rabbit candy costs 8 fun at the supply co-op. 200 yuan is an absurd amount. But I wasn't worried. 10-year wild ginseng is rare, and if it doesn't sell here, I'll just plant it in my system space. 3 months of real-world time equals 90 years in there. That 10-year ginseng becomes a 100-year-old ginseng. People would kill for that. Cohen offered 100. I countered, 150. Final price. He knew the ginseng was worth it, especially as tribute to his backers. The return on that investment would be way more than 150. He gritted his teeth. Deal. 15 10 yuan bills changed hands. I took the cash and casually pocketed it. Actually slipped it straight into the system space. 150 yuan from 1 ginseng root. That's more than most families see in a year. Compare that to 10 measly work points. Business is definitely the way to go. "I'm leaving." "Hold on," Cohen said, smiling now. "You can get ginseng like this, which means you've got connections to good stuff. Let's do business long term. Bring me quality goods, and I'll always give you a fair price." I nodded. "Sure, but I have a request too. I want a Type 56 semi-automatic rifle and 100 rounds of ammunition." His smile froze. "What do you need that for?" "I'm a hunter. What else would I use it for? Guns aren't exactly rare right now. We're only a decade past liberation, and there are still plenty floating around in the countryside. A guy like Cohen could definitely get one if he put in the effort. That depends on whether you can bring me something worth trading for it." "No problem." He told me I could come find him directly next time. Skip the entrance hassle. Even though Cohen operates in the shadows, the guy controls an entire underground market. His connections run deep. Having him as a business partner is seriously valuable. In this era, without connections, you can't get anything done. Today confirmed something important. With the system backing me, I can keep finding rare goods. With Cohen as my sales channel, I've got a real foundation for building wealth. After I left, Number 5 grumbled. Boss, we just let him go. We got beaten up for nothing. Kuan waved it off. Go grab a wild chicken from the market, say it's on me. Oh, and find out who this kid really is. He couldn't figure me out, the fighting ability, the ginseng, and wanted to know exactly who he was dealing with. Not that any investigation would turn up my system. Go ahead and look, buddy. Meanwhile, I was already planning ahead. That 1 acre of black soil in the system space, combined with the spirit spring, could grow ginseng in batches. 10-year ginseng takes 6 real years to mature, but in my space, with the 365x time acceleration, that's just 10 days. Mass production, baby. On my way home, I thought about spending some of that 150 on fabric at the supply co-op, get mom some material for new clothes. But the shop was already closed. Next time, I got home after dark. Mom caught me the second I walked through the gate. Where have you been? It's so late. Have you eaten? Your uncle Guohua sent over the pig innards from lunch. I saved you a bowl. Eat and get to bed. Oh, and I heard some educated youth arrived in the village today. Educated youth? Yeah, I know exactly what those are. Let's be real. They call them educated youth sent to the countryside, but they're basically city kids who couldn't hack it and got shipped out to rural areas. And in a few years, these are the same people who'll stir up all kinds of chaos in the villages. Regular farmers don't know anything about class struggle or political consciousness. It's these half-educated troublemakers who bring all that nonsense. I don't like them. Not one bit. Cool, whatever. I'm taking a bath and going to bed. Next morning, the village was buzzing like a beehive. Every single person was talking about the new arrivals. 5 educated youth, 3 guys, 2 girls, had shown up at once. For a village like ours that barely sees any outsiders all year, this was basically a circus event. Everyone crowded into the village hall to gawk at them like they were zoo animals. I only went because I needed to sign in for work. The 5 of them stood there looking all fresh and fashionable next to our patched-up villagers. Guohua was doing his whole introduction speech. They answered the nation's call. Junior high graduates. Very educated. They'll live and work alongside us. I signed my name and bounced. Most other people drifted off too. Watching new faces is fun, but earning work points is more important. Winter up here in the Northeast is long. If you don't stockpile now, you starve later. That afternoon, after finishing the day's labor and eating at the hall, I grabbed my bow and headed for the mountain. Alone. At night. The ghost market deal made me realize I need to build up my resources fast. Underground trading is illegal now, but in about 18 years, the market economy opens up and it's game on. 18 years sounds like a lot, but trust me, time flies. Going with the village hunting party is safe, but I get barely anything and there's zero privacy. Can't use my system properly when everyone's watching. Solo night hunting means everything I find is mine. Plus that 1 acre farm in my system space is sitting there empty. Criminal waste. I went back to where we killed the boars. No sign of wild pigs, smart animals. They smelled their dead buddy's blood and stayed far away. I found the big tree where I dug up the ginseng before and searched the area. Found 2 more wild ginseng plants. They were tiny, barely bigger than bean sprouts, worthless to normal people. But for me, I plant those in the system space's black soil, water them with spirit spring water, and in 10 real-world days, they'll be 10-year-old ginseng. Leave them for a full year, and they'd be 300-year-old ginseng. World-shaking stuff. Transplanted them into the space, watered them, and kept moving deeper into the mountain. Then, rustling in the bushes, something launched itself at me from out of nowhere. I looked at it mid-flight, and my brain short-circuited. What the? There's a freaking husky in this mountain. Nobody in this era keeps pet dogs. People can barely feed themselves, let alone waste food on animals. The husky bared its fangs. I didn't dodge, just backhanded it right across the face midair. My body stats are way above a dog's now. That husky got slapped so hard it changed direction in midair and crash-landed into a bush, yelping. But this dog, either because huskies are just naturally ridiculous, or because my slap knocked a screw loose, it got back up and charged me again. Oh, feisty. I actually kind of liked this dumb dog. In my past life, I'd watched tons of husky videos online, but was too old to deal with one. Now I'm a young man in my prime, and this idiot dog just served itself up on a platter. No way I'm letting it go. Slap. You want to be my subordinate or not? A wool. No energy. Again. A whoa. The husky's eyes had gone completely docile. That's more like it. I climbed off the husky's back, released its neck, and stopped slapping. Then I tried putting it into the system space. It worked. So now the space inventory is 1 acre of black soil, 1 spirit spring, and 1 dog. Gonna need to build it a little doghouse. The husky had long gray fur all over. Actually pretty good looking for a mutt living in the wild. Since you're completely gray, I'm going to name you Xiao Bai. That means little white. The husky I just named Xiao Bai, meaning little white, despite being entirely gray, almost threw out its back in protest at the name. Howled twice about it. Protest denied. This is your territory now. You can drink from the spring, but touch anything I've planted and I'll eat you instead. Awoo. Don't awoo me. Have a drink and let's go hunting. Dogs can smell 1,000 times better than humans, so congratulations. You're now my official tracker. Xiaobai reluctantly took a sip of the spirit spring water. Then its eyes went huge. Started gulping like crazy. And in my head, ding 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 ding. Xiaobai's loyalty 1%. Current. 2%. Loyalty 1%. Current. 3%. Loyalty 1%. Current. For percent. 5 gulps. Loyalty went from 1% to 6%. I'm pretty sure that starting 1% was from me beating it into submission. The spirit spring boosting loyalty? Did not see that coming. I tried drinking some myself. Felt a faint warmth, kind of like adding an attribute point, but maybe 1/10,000th as strong. Useful, but barely noticeable. And no loyalty notification for myself, because being loyal to yourself doesn't count. Fair enough. I let Xiaobai out of the space and told it to lead the way deeper into the forest. The second it got free, it vanished. But I could still sense it through some kind of mental connection, so I knew it hadn't run off. Xiaobai slowed down. Wait for me. About 15 minutes later, the bushes rustled and Xiaobai came trotting out with a fat wild rabbit in its mouth. Good dog. I took the rabbit, gutted it by the creek with my knife, tossed the innards to Xiaobai as a reward, and stored the rest in the system's no-time storage space. Things going fresh, come out fresh. Forever. After that, my luck kind of ran dry. Wandered around until dark and only managed to shoot 2 wild pigeons. No big game, no boars, no bears, nothing exciting. Xiaobai, let's go home. The dog materialized out of nowhere, panting and licking its chops, tail wagging. Such a goofball. I scratched its head and honestly felt. Content. In my previous life, I died at 70-something, no wife, no kids, completely alone. Now here I am, back in my teenage years, in an era where life is tough, but everyone still has dreams and hope. Every regret can be fixed. Every bad thing hasn't happened yet. What a gift. On the way down, I spotted a gourd vine with small green gourds and transplanted the whole thing into the system space. Gourds are incredibly practical. Eat them young as vegetables. Let them dry out, and they become containers for water or wine. Cut them in half, and you've got 2 sturdy ladles. Watered the gourd with spirit spring water and wondered, if the spring boosts loyalty in dogs, what would it do to plants? That could get interesting. Got home around 7 or 8. Mom heard the commotion and came out. Where have you been? Wait, what is that? Dad followed her out, took one look at Xiaobai, and his face changed. That's not a dog. That's a wolf. I looked down at Xiaobai. It's a husky, Dad. How can you even tell wolf from dog? Easy. Watch the tail. Wolves hang their tails down. Dogs point them up. I thought about it. Not all dogs keep their tails up, though. Then watch what it eats. Wolves only eat meat. Dogs eat meat and poop. Honestly hadn't seen Xiaobai eat poop yet, so observation ongoing. Look, wolf or dog, it caught me a rabbit today. It's my hunting partner now. I already named it Xiaobai. Dad, you know carpentry. Can you build it 2 doghouses? I'll get you a big tree tomorrow. Dad wasn't scared about me keeping a potential wolf. Old hunter like him. He once wanted to raise a black bear when he was young. Next morning before dawn, I went up the mountain and chopped down a poplar tree, 30 centimeters thick. Hacked off all the branches, cut the trunk in 2, and dumped the whole thing into the system space. Carried multi-100-pound logs without breaking a sweat. Popped them out of the space right at our front door. Then I put on my best acting performance, wiping fake sweat off my forehead. Dad, help me out here. Oh man, this tree is so heavy. Took me hours to chop it and hours to drag it home. I'm exhausted. Dad had no idea I'd used the system space. He saw the massive tree trunk behind me, and his jaw dropped. You dragged this back by yourself? Yep. Tied a rope to it, wrapped the bottom in grass to reduce friction, pulled it the whole way. Good thing I've been exercising lately. Each section was maybe 300 or 400 pounds. Too heavy to carry, but draggable. So Dad bought it. We hauled the logs into the yard together. I can plane these into boards for the doghouse. Dry the branches for firewood. Go borrow the carpentry tools from the village. I grabbed the tools, and on the way back, pulled last night's rabbit out of the storage space. Still perfectly fresh. The rinse water hadn't even dried yet. Oh, Dad, I caught this while I was chopping the tree. Already cleaned it by the stream. Let's braise it. Wild rabbit for breakfast. Not bad for a famine year. After eating, we all headed to the village hall for work assignments. Dad would do the doghouse carpentry after hours. Guohua pulled me aside. We're going up the mountain again today. I blinked. Didn't we just go 2 days ago? He explained. We need to feed the new educated youth, and more importantly, October means snowfall that seals the mountain. We've only got a few months to stockpile. Once winter hits, the big animals hibernate, and we're stuck. From now on, you lead the hunting team. 10 of our best hunters, all under your command. Music to my ears. With the Super Hunter system and my space storage, hunting is the perfect cover for privately hoarding resources. How about I just go alone? Guohua shut that down immediately. Your archery is great, but 2 fists can't beat 4 hands. Take the team, damn it. More people means more eyes. Harder to skim off the top. Then the educated youth heard we were going hunting and went absolutely bonkers. I want to go. Me too. Take me. These city kids think hunting is some fun outdoor activity. They have zero idea how dangerous it is. Guohua said no. Flat out. Then this one female youth, Xiao Yuan, short little thing shaped like a potato with a baby face, got all fired up. Why can't we go? Women hold up half the sky. Anything men can do, women can do too. This is gender discrimination. Now, that slogan originally came from the People's Daily in 1956, and in this era, nobody dares argue against big political slogans. The villagers went silent, terrified of having a discrimination label slapped on them. I looked at her and said, men can get women pregnant. Can women do that? The entire crowd exploded laughing. Even the village women were doubled over cackling. Xiao Yuan's face turned tomato red, and she shot me a death glare. Couldn't care less. Dealing with feisty little girls? Child's play for a 70-year-old mind. Guohua laughed, but scolded me. That's a cheap shot, kid. Then he tried explaining the real danger to the educated youth. Poison snakes, near-death encounters, the works. But these kids wouldn't listen. They kept pulling out political slogans until Guohua just gave up. Fine, go, but you must follow orders. Go safe, come back safe. Then he whispered to me, just babysit them. Walk them around a bit and come back early. I was furious inside. Today was supposed to be my chance to load up the system space with resources. Going up the mountain with the village team is my only legitimate excuse to spend time in the forest. Normally, I have to sneak up at night, which is way more dangerous. And now these useless city kids had ruined the whole operation. I like the educated youth even less now. I waved my hand and started walking. The experienced hunters fell in behind me. One of them, Luo de Zhuang, whispered with a grin, "You've got guts, talking back to those educated youth like that." In the villagers' eyes, these city kids are practically royalty, educated, sent by the government, supposed to be treated with respect. Their work assignments are mostly for show, with villagers quietly doing their share for them. I just told the truth, I said. The educated youth caught up, chattering and laughing like they were going on a picnic. When we passed my house, I ducked in and brought Xiaobai out on a leash. The female educated youth immediately swarmed. Oh my God, what a cute puppy. Xiaobai came out of the yard ready to have fun, saw a bunch of strangers rushing toward it, and immediately went full wolf mode. For standing up, eyes glowing, legs braced, growling like it was about to rip someone apart. Because, reminder, it is a wolf. One of the female educated youth, a tall girl with a queenly attitude named Zhong Xiao, looked down her nose and said, "This dog is too dangerous. It bares its teeth and could hurt us. Why don't we just stew it for dinner tonight?" My face went dark. But before I could even respond, Xiaobai, I swear this wolf understood her, launched itself straight at her. "Mommy!" Xiao Xiao screamed and bolted. A weak city girl trying to outrun a wolf. How do we think that went? Everyone was panicking. Your dog is attacking her. Make it stop. Did I make it stop? No. No, I did not. Xiaobai pounced and raked its claws across the back of her calf. Summer clothes are thin. Her pant leg got shredded into ribbons. Xiao Xiao was livid and terrified at the same time, screaming at me. "Luo Yinchuan, call it off. Do you want to be disciplined?" I crossed my arms casually. "Discipline me? You? And what authority do you have to discipline me exactly?" While she was distracted arguing, Xiaobai got her other leg. Tears streaming, she finally cracked. "I was wrong. Please make it stop." "Wrong about what exactly? I shouldn't have threatened to discipline you." And what? HHH, Xiaobai shoved her from behind. She face-planted into the grass, and before she could get up, the wolf was on her back, jaws wide open, yellow-white fangs hovering over her pale little neck. A drop of drool landed on her skin, and she almost fainted. Then the light bulb finally went on. I shouldn't have said we should stew the dog. "Mommy, help me." I cleared my throat. "Xiaobai, enough. Come back." One last snarl for dramatic effect, and Xiaobai trotted back to my side. "Look, I wanted to teach these arrogant, educated youth a bigger lesson. But given how the villagers treat them like sacred guests, going too far would cause me problems." A good scare was enough. Xiao Yuan helped Zhong Xiao Xiao up. The girl was white as a ghost, shaking all over, teeth chattering. "I am fine." Dong Liang, of course, jumped at the chance to score points. "Yinchuan, how could you do that to an educated youth comrade?" I snorted. She ran her mouth and got what she deserved. "You want to stand up for her? Go ahead." Dong Liang's neck retracted like a turtle. He'd seen what the wolf could do. Hard pass. I looked around at all of them. "You should all just go home. You're scared of one dog. What happens when you meet bears and snakes on the mountain? You'll drop dead from fright. And I'm telling you right now, I will not rescue you." Last chance to back out. Xiao Xiao was fuming. In her mind, educated youth are superior beings sent to enlighten us ignorant farmers. And here I was, looking at them like they were beneath me. She declared loudly, "Who's scared? We're going up that mountain today. We educated youth fear nothing. The proletariat has a will of steel." I didn't even bother responding. Just turned and started walking toward the mountain. They followed. Of course they did. Can't let the illiterate peasants look down on educated people, right? Scholarly pride and all that. I set a fast pace, practically sprinting over rice paddies and mountain trails like flat ground. The educated youth had to jog to keep up. By the time we reached the base of the mountain, they were already gasping for breath. "Just go home," I said. "You're dead weight. Can't carry anything. Can't keep up. You're just slowing us down." Xiao Xiao, drenched in sweat, stubbornly shot back. "No, we're going. The proletariat is." Yeah, shouting slogans doesn't make you proletariat. Second time trying to send them back. Failed again. Fine. Not my problem. A few minutes later, a shriek from behind. "Why is there a giant hole here? With poop in it?" HHHH. Even though I didn't want to care, my hunter instincts kicked in. Wild boar tracks. Everyone stay alert. It's breeding season right now. They're at their most aggressive. The educated youth heard wild boar and got excited. These idiots had been walking forever without seeing any action, and now they thought the hunt was finally starting. "Wild boar? Where?" Dazhuang tried to warn them. "Wild boars are extremely dangerous. One adult boar and 5 people still can't take it down. We'd rather not run into them." Me? I was praying for boars. Each perfect kill gives me an attribute point. I need 10 to unlock the hunter shop. Bring them on. Right on cue. 2 massive black boars, 300 to 400 pounds each, stepped into view. Coarse black hair like steel needles, huge tusks jutting out, looking absolutely murderous. Everyone from the village knows how terrifying adult boars are, especially during nursing season. These things have zero concept of personal territory. Wherever they happen to be standing is their territory, and they'll attack anything that breathes. "Get ready," I told the hunters. The village guys immediately tensed up. The educated youth? They were commentating like they were at a zoo. "Wow, they look so fierce." They're ugly. "Are these things even tasty?" "They're so dark and grimy looking." The villagers stared at them like they were mentally deficient. Dazhuang hissed, "Why aren't you climbing trees?" I looked around and laughed darkly. "What trees?" Everyone scanned the area, Nothing but waist-high grass for 100 meters in every direction. The nearest climbable tree was way too far to reach in time. Dong Liang pulled out his firewood machete. Looks like we're fighting head-on. Then one of the male educated youth, a scrawny bookish type, told his 4 buddies, "Let's get behind the villagers." That pissed everyone off. Using us as human shields? We'd protect them anyway, but saying it out loud like that? Like it's our job to die for you? Disgusting. Meanwhile, the 2 boars showed zero fear. They started growling, getting ready to charge. I patted Xiaobai's head. "Go on. Show me what you've got." Oh, and by the way, I'm now convinced Xiaobai is a wolf. Because when we passed those piles of boar dung earlier, it didn't need any. Case closed. Xiaobai shot forward like a missile. The boars didn't back down. They actually charged at Xiaobai. Bold move. Xiaobai leaped onto one boar's back, but the pig was too big and just bucked it off. Xiaobai tried again. Got thrown again. 2 massive boars versus 1 young wolf. Xiaobai was clearly losing. It's still a juvenile, and the size difference was just too much. Zhong Xiaoxiao, watching from behind, couldn't resist being smug. "Oh, wasn't it so fierce earlier? Looks like it's all bark and no bite. Only good for bullying weak women like me." I called Xiaobai back. Xiao panicked. "What are you doing?" "I was just stating facts." "You're going to sick it on me again? Are you even a man?" I ignored her completely. Instead, I took my last 2 special attribute points and dumped them both into Xiaobai. Instantly, I felt our mental connection deepen. And Xiaobai? Same thing that happens when I buff myself, a surge of raw power. Its body didn't change size, but its strength jumped up several tiers. Wolves normally hunt with speed and agility, but I pumped it full of pure force. Right now, Xiaobai could go toe-to-toe with a bear and not lose on strength. "Oh, whoa!" Xiaobai let out a roar so loud it shook the air. Then it rocketed toward the boars like an arrow off a string. Nobody else could see the difference. Xiao was practically praying for the boars to kill Xiaobai and avenge her shredded pants. Sorry to disappoint. The powered-up Xiaobai was 10 times stronger than before. The boars were still bigger, but the tables had completely turned. Speed, power, everything, Xiaobai dominated. Its fangs tore through the boar's thick hide like paper. Blood everywhere. The boars tried to run. Xiaobai didn't let them. Within minutes, both boars had their throats ripped out and collapsed with a thunderous thud. Ding. 2 more special attribute points. I gave Xiaobai a good head scratch. Nice work, buddy. If just 2 attribute points made Xiaobai this strong, what happens when I keep adding more? This wolf is going to become an absolute monster. With Xiaobai powered up enough, I could actually venture into the biling primeval forest, thousands of years of untouched wilderness. The treasures in there must be insane. 100-year ginseng just growing wild everywhere, probably. But that's for later. Xiaobai still needs more buffs before we tackle bear and tiger territory. I ordered the team. Gut them here and cut the meat. It's too hot to carry whole carcasses back. The meat will spoil. Everyone swarmed the boars. All 5 educated youth stood there watching without lifting a single finger to help. Of course, we split the carcasses open. I fed the innards to Xiaobai as a reward. Everything else got sectioned into blocks and loaded into bamboo baskets. Dazhuang looked at Xiaobai with awe. "Brother Yinchuan, with Xiaobai on our side, hunting is going to be so much easier." Xiaobai lifted its head proudly. "AWO, show off." "Let's head back," I said. Once again, I hadn't managed to pocket anything for myself privately. These group hunts are killing my side hustle. I really need to find chances to go solo. Then the educated youth dropped their latest brilliant idea. "Let's just roast the meat right here and eat it." "I'm hungry." "Me too." The educated youth were all chirping about wanting to roast meat right here on the mountain. I looked around and noticed even my village guys were licking their lips. "What? You all want to eat?" Honestly, I wanted to eat too. Fresh wild boar, roasted on the spot. Obviously that's going to be amazing. And I hadn't managed to pocket any private loot today, so I wasn't in a rush to get back. But I played it cool. Can't do it. This is collective property. We don't have the authority. Everyone's face fell. Then the male educated youth, Zhao Xiaohu, jumped in. "We're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can see us. As long as we keep quiet, who's going to know?" The glasses-wearing one, Yang Yeping, added. "Exactly. What happens on the mountain stays on the mountain." "Perfect." I nodded and smiled. "All right, but this was your idea. If anyone asks back at the village, I'm telling them the educated youth requested it. Let the city kids take the blame. Works for me. Dazhuang, go find some wild Sichuan peppercorns. If you can find wild chive flowers too, even better. It rained a few days ago, so there might be some. No seasoning means you improvise. I told the educated youth to gather firewood. Xiao Xiao immediately complained. Why don't you gather it? Then don't eat. You have no respect for women. Eat or don't eat. Your call. Otherwise go home. Xiao Yuan quickly yanked Xiao Xiao's sleeve. Just shut up or nobody gets to eat. I dug a pit, lit a fire with matches and dry leaves, and started threading chunks of boar meat onto peeled sticks. Wild boar is lean and tough, so you've got to pick the pieces with some fat or you'll break your teeth. Dazhuang came back with wild peppercorns, still green, pungent when crushed, and wild chive flowers, juicy enough to grind into a paste with the peppercorns. Mixed together, they made this sharp, spicy green sauce. No salt, though. Salt is precious in this era. Regular people can barely get any. These wild mountain plants are the seasoning. The meat started sizzling and dripping fat. Brushed with that green sauce, the smell was absolutely intoxicating. The educated youth had never seen anything like this and were practically drowning in their own drool. Can we eat yet? I finished the first skewer, 1/2 meter long, 1/2 pound of meat. Xiao Yuan smiled sweetly. Can I try that one? I kept a straight face. This is mine. Make your own. Dongliang instantly offered his skewer to Yuan. Here, take mine. Xiao Xiao sneered at me. See? Now that's a gentleman. Dongliang shot me a smug look. I couldn't possibly care less. I just ate my meat. Women only slow down my eating speed. Between a dozen people and 2 boars, we demolished 1/2 a pig in about an hour. The rest we dried into jerky over the fire. Only way to preserve it in this heat. Otherwise it'd be rotten by the time we got home. Meanwhile, the gourd vine I'd planted in the system space yesterday had already fully matured. 1 day outside equals 1 year inside. I'd already hollowed out the gourds back home and turned them into water bottles. Now I was sipping spirit spring water from one while eating. Sweet, cool, refreshing. Perfect. After the feast, the educated youth were much better behaved. Full stomachs make for quieter mouths. But then I noticed something. Xiao Xiao quietly sidled up to Dongliang and tugged his sleeve. The 2 of them deliberately fell behind the group. Now, I didn't hear their conversation at the time, but here's what I eventually pieced together. Xiao Xiao whispered. You and Luo Yinchuan have bad blood, right? Dongliang raised an eyebrow. Yeah? Why? He's awful. He publicly sicked his wolf on me. Completely humiliated me. What if we team up and take him down a peg? Dongliang was very interested. What did you have in mind? Xiao Xiao laid it out. Everyone follows him because of that wolf dog. It did all the real work today. If we kill the dog, his hunting ability drops. Then you step up, show off your skills, and we go tell the village secretary that you're the better leader. You take over the hunting team, get more work, points, and stop living in his shadow. Dongliang thought about how Dad's superior hunting skills gave our family more resources, which is why Zhang Xiaomei chose me over him. Now I was the team leader getting even more points. His family would be under our family's boot forever. He was getting angrier by the second. What's your plan? Xiao Xiao smiled. We find a chance to kill his dog. Then you're on top. Dongliang and Xiao Xiao were cooking up their little scheme behind my back, thinking they were so clever. In their genius analysis, the only reason I'm the team leader is because of Xiaobai. Kill the dog, kill my career. Simple math, right? Dongliang was practically vibrating with excitement. If he takes over as leader, he gets the glory, the extra work points, the money, and Zhang Xiaomei. The whole package. He's over there fantasizing about pulling me off my throne, and I can practically feel the smugness radiating from behind me. And these educated youth, they'd only seen Xiaobai fight the boars today. They'd never seen me shoot. So naturally they assumed the wolf does all the work, and I'm just the guy holding the leash. Dongliang had seen me shoot, but figured anyone can do archery. His exact logic was some butchered proverb about there being no clear number 1 in martial arts. Meaning, he thinks he's just as good. Sure, buddy. Dongliang. Xiao Xiao. Why are you 2 lagging behind? Dazhuang shouted. Coming. She twisted her ankle. I was checking on it. Yeah, right. Meanwhile, I was walking point, quietly swiping anything useful into the system space. While peppercorns, herbs, whatever. One mental command, and it vanishes. Nobody notices a thing. This system is absolutely broken in the best way. An hour in, we were deep in Qingyun Mountain's heart. Trees so thick overhead that sunlight barely penetrated. Layers of dead leaves on the ground crunching under our feet. You could hear running water somewhere nearby, but couldn't see it through the dense forest. I'm so tired. Can we rest? The educated youth had never hiked this long in their lives and were falling apart. Dongliang suggested we stop. I spotted a lingji mushroom growing on a rotting log nearby. Perfect excuse. Sure, let's rest. Everyone plopped down and broke out the jerky from earlier. Dazhuang grinned. Following brother Yunchuan means eating meat on breaks. Before, with Uncle Guohua's team, all we got were wheat bran biscuits. Yuan asked what those were. Dazhuang explained. Wheat husks ground into powder, mixed with wild vegetables and a tiny bit of actual flour, steamed and sun-dried. Survival food. Xiao Xiao wrinkled her nose. That sounds disgusting. An older hunter said quietly. Having bran biscuits was considered lucky. Last winter, we didn't even have those. During the worst of the famine, people ate straw and mud. You didn't think about taste, you thought about not dying. One of the male educated youth, Zhuang Baifan, actually wanted to try the bran biscuit. Dazhuang gave him one. Zhuang said he needed to find water to soak it first. These things are hard as rocks, and headed toward the sound of the stream. I told him not to wander off. Xiao Xiao said she was thirsty and would go too. Then she shot Dongliang a look. Dongliang, why don't you come show us the way? Dongliang jumped up immediately. Coming. I let them go. Wasn't going to babysit these people every second. I had a lingji to harvest. The mushroom was small, half a palm, shaped like an orange scallop with pretty striped patterns. No real medicinal value at this size, which is why nobody complained when I picked it. They probably figured I'd just eat it like a snack. Instead, I planted it in the system space's black soil. The 2 ginseng plants I'd put in 3 days ago already had 3 years of growth. 7 or 8 more days, and they'd be mature enough to sell. Now I had lingji growing too. 1 acre equals 666 square meters. Each plant only needs 1 square decimeter. Theoretically, I could fit over 66,000 plants in there. The math is beautiful. I was just biting into a piece of jerky when, scream from the distance. Dazhuang's face went white. That's Xiao Xiao. They're in trouble. I tapped Xiaobai's head, and it took off like a rocket toward the stream. When Xiaobai got there, 2 dark gray water snakes had launched out of the creek at Zhuang Baifan while he was trying to soak his biscuit. Dongliang had actually reacted fast, whacked the snakes back into the water with his sickle. Points to him for that. Xiao Xiao was hiding behind Dongliang, shaking. Zhuang Baifan had scrambled away from the creek on all 4s. But more snakes were gathering in the water. Several of them coiled up and prepared to strike at once. Xiaobai arrived just as they launched. My wolf leaped and intercepted multiple snakes midair, but the snakes wrapped themselves around Xiaobai's body. And that's when Xiao Xiao saw her opportunity. She whispered to Dongliang, "Now, the dog is tangled up. Kill it." Xiaobai was tangled up with water snakes wrapped around its body, snarling and thrashing. The snakes weren't venomous, but they were pinning Xiaobai down. And that's when Dongliang made his move. This genius figured now was his shot. Xiaobai's tied up, he pulls out his firewood machete and swings it at Xiaobai's head. His cover story was already prepared. Oh, I was trying to kill the snakes and accidentally hit the dog. Bulletproof alibi, right? Even if I complained to Guohua, he'd be in the clear. What he didn't account for. Xiaobai isn't a dog. It's a wolf. A wolf with 2 attribute points of enhanced strength. Dongliang's machete came down, and Xiaobai dodged it like it was moving in slow motion. Then Xiaobai looked at him, like it understood what just happened, and headbutted him straight into the creek. Splash. Dongliang came up sputtering and coughing, absolutely furious. He crawled out of the water, soaking wet, and looked up to find Xiaobai wagging its tail at him. Teeth bared, grinning. This man just got laughed at by a wolf. By the time I arrived with the rest of the group, Dongliang was dripping wet and fuming. Xiao Xiao hissed at him. "You're useless." Zhuang Baifan overheard, but assumed she was talking about the snakes. Close enough. I saw the water snakes still clinging to Xiaobai and relaxed. No venom. Worst case, it hurts a little. I called Xiaobai over, used an arrow to flick the snakes off, and Xiaobai immediately chomped their heads off. Lucky day, everyone. Dazhuang, clean these snakes. We're grilling them. Within minutes, we'd pulled 7 or 8 water snakes and a few small fish out of the creek. Built another fire, skewered the snakes on sticks, and roasted them up. half a meter long each, maybe half a pound. The meat was firm, chewy, and smelled amazing. After eating, the sky was getting dark. I burped and called it. That's enough for today. Let's get down before nightfall. Mountains at night are no joke. We put out the fire and hiked back. By the time we reached the village, it was fully dark. Guohua was waiting anxiously at the village hall. When he counted heads and saw nobody was missing, he let out a massive sigh of relief. I dropped my basket, ran into 2 more boars. We handled them, ate some on the mountain, dried the rest. Everyone pulled out their share of processed meat. 2 boars, 300 to 400 pounds total. After feeding the innards to Xiaobai and eating a good chunk ourselves, we still brought back an impressive haul. Guohua's face lit up. He'd assumed we came back empty since nobody was carrying carcasses. Kid, you're incredible. 2 hunts, 2 massive scores. He stuffed 2 extra meat sticks into my hand. Take these home. I saw Dong Liang watching with pure envy. I could practically read his thoughts. Why does he get extra? We all did the work. That's the perk of being the leader, buddy. 2 sticks per trip, 20 trips, it adds up. And it's driving Dong Liang absolutely crazy. Got home. Mom and Dad were worried sick. Here, Uncle Guohua gave me these. We got 2 more boars today. We'll hang these in the kitchen and smoke them into preserved meat. Mom nearly teared up with relief seeing me unhurt. Have you eaten? I saved you some porridge. Go wash up. I'll warm it. Feeling that maternal love hit me right in the chest. My nose stung a little. Okay, Mom. Now, here's the part one found out about later. That night, Xiao Xiao snuck over to Dong Liang's house. She was still furious about the failed assassination attempt on Xiaobai. Tonight, sneak into Luo Yunchuan's yard and kill the dog. Dong Liang hesitated. That's a bit much, isn't it? Xiao Xiao's voice went cold. Don't you want to be the leader? The word leader hit Dong Liang like a spell. All his hesitation just evaporated. He thought about those 2 extra meat sticks I got. Thought about Zhang Xiaomei. Thought about getting headbutt into a creek by a wolf. Grabbed his machete and said, I'm going tonight. He went off to sharpen his blade. Xiao Xiao watched him leave with a satisfied smile. Meanwhile, I was sitting in the yard watching Dad do carpentry under the moonlight. Good moon tonight. No need to waste lamp oil. Xiaobai was curled up in the corner, untied, belly full, perfectly calm. What I didn't know at the time was that Dong Liang was crouched outside our wall in the shadows, fuming. Dad and I were hammering and sawing for hours, and this idiot was squatting there the whole time, legs going numb. Finally, I said, Dad, let's call it a night. Get some sleep. We put the wood away, went inside, blew out the lamp. Dong Liang waited even longer, until the moon slid behind clouds and everything went pitch black. Then he crept to the wall and spotted Xiaobai's silhouette on the ground. He pulled out that freshly sharpened machete, climbed over the wall, and swung at Xiaobai. In the blink of an eye, literally, Xiaobai was gone. Dong Liang looked down. Nothing. Looked behind him. Xiaobai was right there. Jaws open, eyes glowing green in the dark, staring at him like death itself. His soul nearly left his body. Give him credit, old hunting instincts kicked in. He rolled forward, put some distance between them, and held his machete out in front of him. But his brain was racing with questions he had no time to answer. When did it wake up? Why didn't it bark? How is it this fast? Because it's not a dog, you fool. It's a wolf. An attribute-enhanced wolf. Only 2 years old but strong enough to make legendary alpha wolves run for their lives. Dong Liang felt genuine terror, not from his brain, but from somewhere deep in his bones. He decided to abort and try another day. Xiaobai didn't give him that option. One flash of gray, and Xiaobai clamped down on Dong Liang's right foot. I could practically hear the bones cracking from inside the house. Dong Liang couldn't even scream. Getting caught breaking into someone's yard at midnight? In this era, the homeowner could beat you to death and the whole village would say you deserved it. This is the age where people donate everything to the collective out of selflessness. A thief gets zero sympathy. Dad and I were watching the whole thing through the window. I said, that bite probably destroyed his right foot. Dad winced. Despite everything, Dong Liang is a neighbor. Distant relatives within 5 generations, technically. That's enough, isn't it? The boy's just lost his mind for a while. I nodded. I wasn't going to let Xiaobai kill him. If Dong Liang died in our yard from our wolf's bite, we'd be the ones in trouble. I opened the door and called out. Who's there? Xiaobai released. Dong Liang dragged himself over the wall and disappeared into the darkness, leaving a trail of blood behind him. Dad and I came outside, looked at the blood on the ground. He sighed. That boy is ruined. I watched him grow up. Never thought he'd go this crooked. At least he's got an older brother. The family won't collapse. They can still earn enough work points to get by. I felt nothing. You reap what you sow. Feeling sorry for someone who tries to murder your wolf is just enabling bad people. Let's wash this up, I said. Inside and outside. On the other end of the village, Dong Liang limped home with a mangled foot. His older brother Luo Tsungjun happened to be up using the outhouse and nearly had a heart attack. What happened to you? Dong Liang mumbled. Ran into a wolf outside. Got bit. A wolf came down the mountain. That's a huge deal. Wolves are pack animals. If they're entering the village, it could be catastrophic. Tsungjun didn't question the story for a second. Hold on. I'll wake up Mom and Dad to take you to the clinic. I need to tell Uncle Guohua right now. Dong Liang's parents carried him toward the township clinic, and Tsungjun sprinted to Guohua's house, pounding on the door in a panic. Uncle Guohua, wolves are coming down the mountain. Inside, Guohua had been sleeping like a baby until the banging nearly gave him a heart attack. The words, wolves coming down the mountain, shot him out of bed so fast he was stumbling into his shoes. What? Wolves? Are you serious? Tsungjun swore up and down. His brother got bitten. Parents already took him to the clinic. Guohua couldn't risk ignoring this. He told his wife to lock up with the kids, grabbed the ancestral bronze gong from the village hall, and started running through the streets, banging it like a madman. Wolves, everyone lock your doors. Do not come outside. The gong echoed across the silent night sky. People jolted awake everywhere. What's going on? Did he say wolves? We haven't had wolves in years. Families with small children barricaded their doors with heavy furniture. A few brave idiots actually stepped outside to look around. Now, at my house, I just finished washing the blood off the ground in front of our gate when I heard the gong. I stood up and looked toward the noise. Dad ran out. What's happening? Sounds like Uncle Guohua. Saying wolves are here. Wolves? In this season? They don't come down the mountain now. We looked at each other. Then we both looked at Xiaobai, sitting right next to us. Yeah, the village's only wolf hadn't gone anywhere. At the clinic, Dr. Zhou was on night shift, reading with his glasses on, when Dong Liang's parents burst in carrying their bleeding son. His father was yelling, Doctor, save my boy. A wolf got him. Zhou examined the wound under lamplight and said very seriously, This is a wolf bite. That made Dong Liang freeze. He'd told everyone it was a wolf as a cover story. But now the actual doctor was confirming it was genuinely a wolf bite, not a dog bite. A terrifying thought crept into Dong Liang's mind. What if Luo Yunchuan's dog is actually a wolf? Meanwhile, the educated youth heard the gong and panicked. They barricaded their courtyard gate with everything they could find. Xiao Xiao muttered suspiciously, What a coincidence, since she knew Dong Liang was supposed to be at my house killing Xiaobai tonight. Nobody slept well. The whole village stayed up, tense and scared. Come morning, brave souls ventured out and found absolutely nothing. No wolf tracks. No damage. Not a single paw print anywhere. An old hunter with dark circles under his eyes cursed. That Guohua brat. Was he sleepwalking? Where are these wolves? Guohua himself hadn't slept either. Sat up all night with his hunting rifle. Also heard and saw nothing. He went outside, checked everywhere. Just a village full of yawning, sleep-deprived, annoyed people. That little punk Tsungjun tricked me. Where's the wolf? He stormed over to Dong Liang's house and started pounding on the door. Tsungjun answered, You told me wolves were here. Show me the wolves. Tsungjun defended himself. My brother really did get bitten. I just got back from the clinic. Dr. Zhou worked on him half the night. He said if the bite had been any harder, the bone would have shattered completely. Even with treatment, Dong Liang's going to walk with a limp for the rest of his life. Guohua's eyebrows scrunched together. It was really a wolf. Really a wolf. Go ask the doctor yourself. So Guohua marched straight to the clinic. Burst through the door, yelling Dong Liang's name. Dong Liang's father came out looking exhausted and devastated. Guohua pushed past him into the room and saw Dong Liang lying there, leg wrapped in bandages. You actually got bitten by a wolf? Dong Liang answered with total confidence. Yes. A real wolf. Dr. Zhou had confirmed it. 100% wolf bite. Guohua narrowed his eyes. Where exactly did this happen? Dong Liang almost blurted out, at Luo Yunchuan's house, but caught himself just in time. Because the obvious follow-up question would be, and what were you doing at his house in the middle of the night? Self-incrimination avoided. Near Luo Yunchuan's front gate, he said instead. Guohua's face immediately filled with concern, not for Dong Liang, but for me. I'm his golden goose. For wild boars in a few days. He practically sprinted to my house. Found no damage outside. Relaxed. Called out my name. I poked my head out. Uncle Guohua, have you eaten? Come join us. He looked me over, confirmed I was fine, and said, just came from the clinic. Dong Liang says he got bitten by a wolf right outside your gate. Did you hear anything last night? I pointed at Xiaobai lounging in the corner. You mean this one? Guohua's face went white. A wolf. In my yard. Just. Lying there. Don't worry, Xiaobai won't hurt anyone. He stared at the lazy wolf and swallowed hard. You? Tamed it? Yep. Totally obedient. Then he remembered why he came. So was it your wolf that bit Dong Liang? Yes. His face went stern. You told me it was tame. It bit someone, I said flatly. Doesn't matter if it's a wolf or a dog. Dong Liang deserved that bite. What do you mean? Last night, Dong Liang climbed over my wall with a machete. He was trying to kill Xiaobai. Guohua was stunned. You what? Yesterday's two boars? Xiaobai killed them both. The water snakes that almost got Zhuang Baifan? Xiaobai saved him. And then Dong Liang decided to sneak into my yard at midnight with a knife to murder my wolf. He got bitten because he deserved it. Guohua's anger flipped targets instantly. Not angry at me anymore. Furious at Dong Liang. That little bastard played me like a fool. I'm going to settle this right now. He stormed back to the clinic and laid into Dong Liang. Dong Liang's father tried to defend his son. He's injured. Stop yelling. Guohua fired back. Your wonderful son snuck into Yunchuan's yard at midnight to steal his wolf. Couldn't tell a wolf from a dog, and got his foot crushed. I say he got what he deserved. What kind of socialist steals from his neighbors? Dong Liang actually had the nerve to argue. Luo Yunchuan is keeping a wolf in the village. Setting aside the facts, I was basically doing a public service. Setting aside the facts? Who says you can't keep a wolf? If he can feed it, it's his business. That wolf killed 2 boars yesterday. It helps the village. You're just jealous. Guohua was carrying a grudge about the false alarm too. He'd banged that gong, kept the whole village awake, and now looked like a fool. He needed someone to yell at, and Dong Liang was it. Dong Liang's parents couldn't say a word in his defense. Climbing someone's wall at midnight. There's no spinning that. By noon, the entire village knew the full story. Various versions were circulating. Dong Liang tried to steal the dog, kill the dog, and eat it. All kinds of theories. But the key facts everyone agreed on. Dong Liang snuck into my yard at night like a thief, got his foot destroyed, and would walk with a limp for the rest of his life. General consensus? He had it coming. The other big news. Yunchuan's pet isn't a dog. It's a wolf. Meanwhile, Xiao Xiao was having a very bad day. Her brilliant scheme had completely imploded. Dong Liang was supposed to kill my wolf and take my position. Instead, Dong Liang's foot is ruined. He can never hunt again, and she lost her only ally. She was sitting somewhere muttering curses. Stupid wolf. Hope a bear eats you on the mountain. That afternoon, after signing in for work, I finally headed up the mountain with Xiaobai. Just us. No team, no educated youth, no dead weight. The wolf was public knowledge now, so I walked Xiaobai right through the village. People stared. In this era where humans can barely feed themselves, keeping a wolf as a pet is borderline insane. But nobody dared say anything. And this time, Guohua actually agreed to let me go alone. He'd talked it over with Dad and given the green light. I was thrilled. Finally, time to go all out. Xiaobai was bouncing through the grass like a maniac while I strolled behind, munching jerky and sipping spirit spring water from my gourd. Life was good. After 2 group hunts covering the same old territory, I decided to go deep today, straight through Qinyun Mountain and out to the edge of the Biling Range. The usual hunting grounds had been picked over 1,000 times. The biggest thing you'd find is wild boar, and honestly, I was getting bored of wild boar. 2 hours of walking brought me to the peak, the old Qinyun Pagoda. 7 stories of brick and stone, built during the Xianfeng era, about 170 years old. The whole thing was crumbling, weeds growing out of every crack, but it was still the highest point for miles. I climbed the narrow spiral staircase to the top, and the view was incredible. A dozen villages spread below, endless mountains rolling into the distance. Stayed about 5 minutes. Way too hot up there. Coming down the north side, I headed toward the Biling Range. From here it was nothing but unbroken forest stretching to the horizon. Xiaobai was ecstatic. It's a wolf. This is where it belongs. And I was right about the untouched territory. Found 3 more wild ginseng roots, all over 20 years old. Thumb thick, serious medicinal value. Normally you have to be incredibly careful digging ginseng, keeping every tiny root hair intact or the price drops. But me? I just scoop up the whole chunk of soil and dump it into the system space's black field. Clean it up later when it's time to sell. While I was digging, a group of about a dozen people appeared nearby. Zhang Village's hunting party, coming from a different direction. Today was weirdly quiet. No large animals anywhere. So they'd pushed all the way to the Biling border too. I brushed the dirt off my hands just as their leader spotted me. Luo Yinchuan? What are you doing here? I looked up and grinned. Zhang Tuxing. I could ask you the same thing. Zhang Tuxing. Zhang Xiaomei's brother. If I'd actually married that snake of a woman, this guy would be my brother-in-law right now. Instead, the air between us was pure hostility. After I publicly rejected Xiaomei, called her mom a potential enemy agent, and humiliated the whole family in front of their village, the Zhang family wanted me dead. Lu Dajiao's reputation was in the gutter, and everyone gossiped about them constantly. The guys behind Tuxing weren't hostile, though. They had no beef with me. Actually, back when I used to visit Xiaomei, I'd always bring snacks, so they remembered me fondly. Tuxing looked around, noticed I was alone, and his expression turned ugly. You came out here by yourself? Not afraid of getting eaten? Why would I be? You're here too. We have 20 people. You have 1. I'm worried you'll die with nobody to bury you. Don't lose sleep over me. Then, a roar shook the entire mountainside. Tuxing's face went white. That's a black bear. Bears are the kings of these mountains. Everyone knows Biling has them, but we were barely at the outer edge. Nobody expected to run into one here. After the initial shock, though, Tuxing's crew started getting excited. A black bear is worth a fortune. Bear paws, bear skin, bear gallbladder. Any single part trades for 50 work points. Plus the meat. That's 20 points per person. 20 of us against 1 bear? We've got this. Young guys, big group, big reward. Fear was already giving way to greed. They started openly planning the bear hunt right in front of me, acting like the bear was already theirs. As for me, 1 guy alone. They figured I'd probably wet my pants when it showed up. The roaring got louder and closer. Then I looked up toward the noise and saw Xiaobai sprinting back toward me at full speed. Oh, my wolf had been running wild up ahead, wandered into the bear's territory, and got chased back. This was about to get interesting. Tuxing's crew had their eyes glued on the approaching bear roar, so when Xiaobai came bursting out of the tall grass like a gray missile, they nearly jumped out of their skins. Holy! A wolf. Running into a wolf in the wild is not a fun time for hunters. These things are incredibly hard to deal with. Why's a wolf running with a bear? Where did this thing come from? But they figured, 1 wolf, 20 guys. Easy math. Tuxing pulled out his bow and aimed at Xiaobai. Boys, let's take out the wolf first. Even if the bear doesn't work out, at least we bag a wolf. Excuse me? Before I could even say anything, his arrow was already flying at my wolf. You motherf! I sprinted towards Xiaobai. Thankfully, Tuxing's aim was garbage and the dense trees blocked the shot. Xiaobai was about to turn and rip Tuxing's face off, but it sensed me coming and veered away instead. Good wolf. Tuxing wanted to take a second shot, but the bear was closing in fast. He had to make a choice, wolf or bear. He chose bear. Smart move. Only smart thing he did all day. I grabbed Xiaobai and ran about half a mile out. Couldn't see the fight from there, but I could hear it. Bear roaring, men screaming, absolute chaos. Someone was definitely getting hurt. Did I feel bad? No, not particularly. I turned to Xiaobai. This is what happens when you run around causing trouble. Xiaobai looked completely unbothered, almost smug. Getting a little attitude there, huh? I put Xiaobai in the system space to keep it safe. It immediately went to drink from the spirit spring. Ding. Loyalty 0.1%. Current, 57%. The gains were slowing down. Used to be 1% per gulp, now it's 0.1%. But past 50% loyalty, our mental connection was noticeably stronger. I was curious what 100% would unlock. I crept back toward the sounds of battle and hid in grass taller than my head, using a stick to part the blades and peek through. The battlefield was destruction. Small trees snapped and scattered everywhere. What used to be dense forest had been flattened into a 20-meter clearing. 2 men were lying on the ground. Couldn't tell if they were dead or alive. The surviving fighters stood in a loose circle, weapons raised, exhausted. The bear was across from them, covered in wounds, fur matted with blood. But injured bears are angry bears. More dangerous, not less. No clear winner yet. This is the reality of mountain running. You're gambling your life for food. My team got lucky with wild boars, came home safe with huge hauls. That's the exception. Most hunts, you're lucky to grab some wild vegetables and maybe a rabbit. Finding 400 pounds of pork is a miracle. That's why Guohua values me so much. Another man went down. 3 casualties now. Sad. Yes. Surprising? No. Bears, tigers, wolf packs. Run into any of these and you're fighting for survival. Coming home in one piece is already a win. Tushing's mistake was letting his ego take over. 20 young guys, they thought they were invincible. Wanted to show off in front of me. Any experienced hunter would have heard that bear roar and been gone. Tushing, this thing is too strong. We don't have a shotgun. We can't win. One of his guys was wiping blood off his face, practically crying. Bows and arrows against a black bear are basically useless. The hide is too thick. The arrows don't penetrate deep enough. Without a shotgun spraying iron pellets, they had no way to deal lethal damage quickly. Tushing looked at the bodies on the ground and finally swallowed his pride. Fall back. Grab our people and go. Even the dead ones needed to be carried home. Leave a body up here and the animals would eat it. Nobody wanted to picture that. They started retreating, but the bear wasn't done. The moment it saw them turning to leave, it charged. Full speed, roaring, blood spraying from its own wounds. Pure rage. Oh my God, all fighting spirit evaporated. They dropped everything, including their fallen comrades, and scattered. Every man for himself. But a frenzied bear is fast. Way faster than human legs. In seconds it was right behind them, jaws open, one massive paw raised high. If that paw came down on anyone, someone else was dying today. Tushing's crew didn't need to look back. They could feel the bear right behind them. Human legs versus an enraged, wounded bear? Not even close. We're going to die here. Some of them were already crying. Then my arrow hit the bear's left eye. Dead center. The bear's charge stuttered. Its raised paw swiped down and just barely missed Tushing's back. The wind from it alone almost made them pass out from the stench. One arrow wasn't enough to kill something that massive, though. It kept chasing. So I loaded another. Second arrow went straight into the right eye. Bear's officially blind now. A real, blind bear. That's literally what the nickname means, and now it's accurate. It could only roar helplessly while Tushing's crew finally got away. They ran a few hundred meters before stopping, gasping for air. We almost died. So close, though. We almost had it. Then someone asked, who shot those arrows? Tushing guessed it was some passing hunter. Then his face suddenly changed. Wait, if another hunting team is back there, they're going to steal our bear. We beat it half to death. We lost people. That bear is OURS. And just like that, the whole group turned around and headed back. Incredible logic. 5 minutes ago, they were crying about dying. Now they want to go claim the kill. Meanwhile, I jumped out of the grass and was standing over the blinded bear, annoyed as hell. You idiots. Don't you know an intact bearskin is worth serious money? Look at all these holes. That's several yuan of damage right there. Grumbling the whole time, I pulled out my machete and slit the bear's throat. It finally went down for good. Ding. Killed adult wild black bear. Special attribute points 2. 2 points. The system is normally stingy. 1 point per wild boar, 1 for the viper. But this bear was tough enough to earn double. Nice. I was just about to figure out how to haul this thing away when... Stop. Luo Yinchuan. I knew it was you. Tushing burst out of the bushes with his remaining 8 guys. Looking all tough now that the bear was dead. You hid in the shadows while we fought the bear, and now you're stealing our kill? That's disgusting. 8 against 1. He wasn't worried at all. I ignored him completely and went back to dealing with the bear. Normally I'd just pop it into the system space, but with 8 pairs of eyes watching, I couldn't do that. The system is my biggest secret. Nobody can know. Tushing got angrier that I was ignoring him and charged over. reaching for my collar. In a blink, my machete was resting on his shoulder, the blade pressing against his neck. Still wet with the bear's blood, drew a thin red line on his skin. Don't move unless you want to die. His guys panicked. Don't be rash. We're neighbors. Let's talk. Put the knife down. Tushing didn't beg, though. Puffed out his chest. Go ahead and kill me if you dare. I smiled. You think I won't? You wouldn't. Why not? You lost several guys fighting this bear already. What's one more? I'll blame it on the bear. That changed his expression. He realized I was right. If I killed him out here and pinned it on the bear, it'd be a perfect cover story. But then he thought about his 8 witnesses. They'd all tell the village. You'd be executed too. I said it casually, like I was commenting on the weather. So I kill all of you. A bear this big wiping out your entire team? Totally believable, right? That got everyone heated. You think you're so tough? Kill all of us. Try it. I looked at the guy who just challenged me. Zhang Shuhua, sounds like you don't believe me. Want to find out? Shuhua wilted under my stare. His bravado dropped 3 notches instantly. Stop trying to scare people. I lowered the machete from Tushing's shoulder and swept my gaze across every face. Ice-cold voice. I'm announcing right now, this bear is mine. All of it. Who agrees? Who disagrees? I disagree. Tushing. Obviously. His logic was simple. 8 guys, 1 of me, middle of nowhere. Worst case, they kill me and blame the bear. There were already dead Zhang village guys lying around. One more body wouldn't look suspicious, so I backhanded him across the face. The crack echoed through the forest. Tushing spun around twice and dropped to the ground. His face swelled up like a balloon instantly. When he opened his mouth, blood foam and a broken tooth fell out. Everyone flinched. Missing a tooth now, Tushing's speech came out all weird, but he still managed. Get him, all of you. Together, 7 guys charged me, screaming. And in that split second, I dumped all 4 of my remaining attribute points into my body. A wave of warmth and then power like nothing I'd ever felt. Speed, strength, reflexes. I was operating on a completely different level from these people. Tushing couldn't believe I was actually fighting 8 guys at once. He's not even taking us seriously. His rant got cut short by my fist burying itself in his stomach. With my enhanced body, that punch was no joke. Tushing folded in half, stumbled backward, and collapsed, rolling on the ground, clutching his gut, crying and vomiting. Yellow bile, white foam, everything coming up. It looked horrifying. The other 7 hesitated. What are you waiting for? There's 7 of you. Tushing screamed from the ground. Shuo rallied them. Together. Now, they swarmed me. I didn't have any fancy martial arts moves, but I didn't need them. Raw power beats technique. Their punches moved in slow motion to my eyes. I could see every attack coming, dodge it, and counterpunch before they even finished swinging. It was like a video game on the easiest difficulty setting. To them, I was moving at impossible speed. They couldn't block, couldn't dodge, couldn't even react before getting hit. Complete dimensional gap. In minutes, all 8 were on the ground, groaning. Tushing stared at me with trembling disbelief. How are you this strong? I smirked. You think I'm required to tell you I know martial arts? In this era, people still deeply believe in kung fu masters and legendary fighters. So nobody questioned it. They were just shocked they hadn't known about my martial arts until now. I barked, here's your chance to survive. You're going to drag this bear back to my village for me. Do that, and I let you live. Refuse, and you can stay here for the eagles and wild pigs to chew on. Your corpses rotting in the wilderness, your spirits wandering forever. They went pale. Nobody dared refuse. I tied up the bear's limbs with vines and assigned 2 men to drag it at a time. The rest carried their dead teammates on their backs. I walked behind them like a foreman supervising a chain gang. It took hours of rotating shifts, but they dragged that massive bear all the way to the entrance of my village. All right, I said casually. You can go now. I'll get my people to take it from here. The message was crystal clear. I wasn't sharing a single piece of this bear. Were they furious? Absolutely. Did they dare argue? Not a chance. They'd gotten beaten enough for one day. On the walk back to Zhang village, Tushing was grinding his remaining teeth. Luo Yinchuan. I will destroy him. Meanwhile, a black bear carcass at the village entrance is not something you can keep quiet. Within minutes, half the village, men, women, old folks, kids, came flooding to the entrance to see this monster. It was way bigger than the wild boars. A genuine spectacle. Guohua came running, face full of shock. Yinchuan, you hunted this bear? A black bear is the undisputed king of the forest. Wild boars are tough for humans, but compared to a bear, they're nothing. Complete species domination. Now, if nobody had been around, my plan was perfect. Kite the blind bear with arrows, finish it off, stuff it in the system space, butcher it privately, sell the paws, skin, and gallbladder on the black market for a fortune. But Tuxing's crew saw everything, and if I tried to keep the bear secret, they'd go back to their village and blab. Yinchuan got a bear. Then Guohua checks our records. No bear meat anywhere. And suddenly I'm a capitalist rotor, hoarding collective property. Hack goes on. I get dragged away for interrogation. So when Guohua asked if I hunted it, I said, yes. Everyone's jaw dropped. The old hunters looked at me like I'd grown a second head. One guy alone killing a bear? That's not human. That's divine. Dad, ever supportive, immediately shot me down. Tell the truth. I know your pathetic skills. You'd wet yourself just seeing a bear, and I'd consider that brave. Dad, you can't trash talk your own son like this. Fine. I told the Real story, ran into Zhang village's hunting party. They decided to fight the bear. It went badly. I saved them with 2 arrows to the eyes, and they, graciously, gave me the bear out of gratitude. The 2 arrows still sticking out of the bear's skull backed me up. Everyone who'd seen my archery believed it. The hundreds of wounds on the bear's body proved it had been through a brutal fight before I finished it. And Zhang village is right next door. Lying would be pointless since anyone could go verify. Guohua chuckled. Nice of Zhang Tuxing to give you the whole bear after you saved their lives. Did he feel bad that several Zhang village guys died? Not enough to share any meat with them. In a famine, you don't give away food that's already in your hands. It's hot. Process this bear now. Same rules. Innards for today's meal, dry the rest, store it. The entire village mobilized. Boiling water, scraping fur, draining blood, gutting. The place was like a festival. The bear was dismantled in no time. Guohua handed me a bear paw, easily several dozen pounds, as my personal bonus. This is yours. Emperors used to eat these things. Top-tier delicacy. I saw Dong Liang watching from a distance, bandaged leg and all, eyes practically bleeding with jealousy. His dream of leading the hunting team was dead forever. And here I was, collecting meat, and a bear paw right in front of him. The envy was literally eating him alive. We feasted on bear innards, incredible stuff, and I went home with my paw and an extra chunk of meat. Over at the educated youth compound, they were digesting too. Xiao Yuan admitted. This Yinchuan guy is actually pretty capable. Xiao Xiao rolled her eyes. Oh please, didn't you hear him? Zhang village did all the work and he just swooped in for the kill shot. Zhuang Bifan laughed. That's still impressive though, Xiao Xiao snapped. Whose side are you on? Bifan backed off immediately. Fine. Let's just wash up and sleep. I'm exhausted from digging mud all day. Meanwhile, across in Zhang village, the mood was the opposite of ours. Their village hall had coffins lined up in the center. Families were wailing. The village secretary and elders were setting up a mourning altar. A big fire pit burned at the entrance while the entire village lined up to pay respects. Death during mountain runs isn't unusual. Every year people get killed by animals, fall off cliffs, get poisoned. But this time was different. According to Zhang Shua's version of events, they'd sacrificed everything and got nothing in return. After the altar was ready, the village secretary told Shua to explain what happened in front of everyone. And here's where it gets interesting. Shua's story. We went into the mountain as usual, couldn't find anything, pushed deeper. Then at the back of Pagoda Mountain, we ran into Luo Yinchuan. He commanded a wolf to lure a bear toward us. We couldn't escape, so now I'm the villain who deliberately sicked a bear on them. Unbelievable. Now, what I didn't know at the time was that back in Zhang village, Shua was spinning a completely different story. According to him, I deliberately used my wolf to lure the bear toward their group. Intentional murder, basically. And the villagers ate it up. The reasoning actually made sense from their angle. I just had a nasty public breakup with the Zhang family over the bride price. Shua is Zhang Xiaomei's brother. Why wouldn't I hold a grudge? Out in the wilderness, who'd ever know? That Luo Yinchuan is evil. He doesn't even respect our village. Thank God Xiaomei didn't marry that monster. Lu Dajiao, Xiaomei's mother, was in her element, puffing up like a toad. I told you I saw through him from the beginning. This kind of man should be executed. Then she started playing matchmaker again. Xiaomei, what about that Luo Dongliang? His family's decent, and he was crazy about you, right? Xiaomei scoffed. He's a cripple now. I'm not marrying a cripple. How'd he become a cripple? Luo Yunchuan's wolf bit him. Lu Dajiao pounced on that. See? It's always this Luo Yunchuan. He attacks our village and his own. The boy is a menace. She started riling up the dead men's families until they were all screaming for my head. The village secretary, Zhang Zilin, had a headache the size of a mountain but promised to go confront Guohua the next day. Meanwhile, I was blissfully unaware of all this drama and having a great evening. Our family sat down with the bear paw, and I made a practical suggestion. How about I sell this at the town restaurant and trade it for rice, flour, and cooking oil? In this era, filling your belly beats gourmet food every time. If 1 pound of bear paw buys 10 pounds of rice, that's an easy choice. I tossed the paw into storage space, grabbed Xiaobai, and headed out. With 4 attribute points in my body now, my walking speed was insane. Cut the usual half-hour trip down to about 12 minutes. Still, watching people zoom past on those big, 28-inch bicycles made me jealous. In this era, owning one of those is like owning a Mercedes in the future. I need to get one. First stop, the supply co-op. Bought rice, flour, cooking oil, and various seasonings. 20 yuan total. Would have been cheaper with ration tickets, but I don't have any, so I paid the inflated price. Still had 130 yuan left from the ginseng sale. Everything went straight into storage space. Then, the ghost market. Number 5 and number 6 were on guard duty, as usual. The moment they saw me, huge smiles. Brother Luo, welcome. I pulled out a handful of white rabbit milk candies from the co-op and tossed them over. Here, have some sweets. Number 5's eyes went wide. White rabbit. We're eating fancy today. These candies just came out last year as a special gift for the nation's 10th anniversary. Top shelf stuff at triple the price of regular candy. Serious luxury. Number 6 was more straightforward. Thanks, bro. I asked about Brother Cohen. He wasn't in, just stepped out. So I browsed around until number 6 came running. He's back. Cohen's office. He was all smiles. Yinchuan. Sit. Number 5. Make tea. His eyes were already gleaming with anticipation. What did you bring me this time? I unwrapped a grass bundle. Killed a bear today. Got a bear paw. Interested? Cohen's face lit up like the sun. You showed up at the perfect time. The state-run restaurant just asked me to find something special. County officials from the Materials Bureau are coming tomorrow, and they need an impressive dish. A bear paw? That's exactly what they need. He reached for it, but I held back. About that Type 56 semi-auto I asked for last time. Any progress? Cohen's smile froze. Those aren't easy to find, you know. Fair point. It's 1960. The Type 56 semi-auto came out in 1956, only 4 years ago. It's still active military equipment. Guohua's village gun is basically an antique by comparison. How much for the paw? Cohen asked. I'd done some research walking around earlier. 50 yuan. Too expensive. If you had a pair, I'd pay 100. But one? 30. 45. I don't like the number 4. Bad luck. How about 39? I laughed. Cohen, you haggle harder than the street vendors. Fine, 39. He sighed dramatically. I'm just a middleman, brother. I don't keep any of this stuff. He counted out 39 yuan and handed it over. Here's the thing. Bear paw sounds fancy, but without refrigeration, which basically doesn't exist in rural China right now, meat goes bad in 3 days in this heat. The only reason this paw sold at all was the lucky timing with county officials coming to town tomorrow. Otherwise, I'd have been eating it myself. Running total, 150 from ginseng, minus 20 for groceries, plus 39 for the paw. 169 yuan in my pocket. Lu Dajiao's, outrageous. Bride price was 100 yuan. I've got nearly double that now. Do I want to reconsider marrying Zhang Xiaomei? Absolutely not. I haven't degraded that much. Then I made my real move. Hey Cohen, you got any bicycle tickets? Walking 10 plus miles of mountain road every time I bring you stuff is killing me. Get me a bike and the deliveries get faster. Oh, and I've got a feeling. Next month I'll have 50-year-old ginseng and lingji for you. His eyes went crystal clear. 50-year ginseng, 10-year ginseng is already valuable. 50-year stuff? That's tribute grade. The kind of gift that makes powerful people remember your name and promote you. And Cohen was hungry for advancement. You really have a bicycle ticket? I pressed. Silence. He could tell I wanted it for free. And he didn't want to just give it away. Bicycle tickets go for 30 yuan on the black market. But he also couldn't say no, because 50-year ginseng is priceless. Finally, what a coincidence. I happen to have one right here. He opened his drawer and pulled it out. I snatched it and stuffed it in my pocket before he could blink. Oh, how embarrassing. I couldn't possibly. Well, I'll take it. Number 5 and number 6 were staring at me with their mouths open. Yeah, real embarrassed there, bro. More like terrified Cohen would change his mind. All right, gotta run. Don't forget about that Type 56 for me. Cohen called after me. And don't forget my 50-year ginseng. No problem. I left the ghost market in excellent spirits. Lost a few yuan on the bear paw haggling, but gained a bicycle ticket worth 30. Net profit? Huge. Only problem, there's no bicycle shop in our township. Gotta go all the way to Xintian County, 13 kilometers away. And in this era, a bike shop is basically a luxury car dealership. Got home after dark. Pulled all the groceries out of storage space outside the yard and carried them in, doing my best, exhausted from heavy lifting, performance. Mom and Dad were stunned. All this from one bear paw, rice, millet flour, and a bunch of seasonings. Seasonings are expensive luxuries. Most families can't afford them and wouldn't waste money on flavor when they could buy more rice instead. Got lucky, I said casually. The state restaurant needed something fancy for county officials coming tomorrow. They paid premium for the paw. They bought it completely. No suspicion. Quick, get this inside before the neighbors see. Dad knew the rule, don't flash wealth. If anyone walked past and saw this haul, the jealousy would be nuclear. I took a bath and lay in bed calculating. The county seat is 13 kilometers each way. Even with my enhanced legs, buying a bike, getting it registered, that's a full day minimum. I need to get a day off from Guohua somehow. Next morning, I woke up to a racket outside. Stumbled out half asleep and asked Mom what was going on. Not sure. Something about a bunch of people coming over from Zhang Village. Zhang Village is here? What do they want this early? I headed to the village hall, curious. Everyone was eating breakfast, getting their tools ready for field work. Normal morning stuff. Then a whole crowd from Zhang Village came marching up, led by their village secretary Zhang Zilin. Guohua stood up to greet him warmly. Old Zhang, what brings you here? Come sit. Have you eaten? Zilin's face was dark. He glanced at our breakfast pot, bear meat stew, and his face got even darker. Old Luo, this isn't right. What you people are doing is not right. Guohua's smile vanished. What are you talking about? Zilin nudged Zhang Tushing forward. Go on, tell them. I've got your back. And Tushing launched into his version of events, the same garbage story he'd told in Zhang Village. How I deliberately used my wolf to lure the bear toward them. Intentional murder. The whole fabricated narrative. Guohua immediately shut it down. Impossible. Yinchuan isn't that kind of person. Dazhuang backed me up. Other villagers chimed in. Yinchuan is the most honest kid around. What would he even gain from doing that? Kill people over a broken engagement? That's insane logic. Tushing quietly slipped behind Zilin. He'd already checked. I wasn't at the hall yet, so he'd been talking tough. Now that his speech was done, he let his village secretary take over. Zilin boomed. You think you know him? Our hunting party saw it with their own eyes. Then Lu Dajiao. Of course she came along, started strutting around. I always knew he was rotten. That's why I refused to let my Xiaomei marry him. He got rejected and turned into a murderer. He should be drowned in a pig cage. One father who'd lost his son was shaking with rage. Hand over Luo Yinchuan. He owes us a life. Others joined the chorus. Hand him over. I'll kill him myself for my son. Give us Yinchuan or we destroy your village. Village-on-village brawls aren't exactly rare in this era. Even 40 years from now, villages will literally fire homemade cannons at each other over irrigation disputes. The Zhang village threats were pissing off our villagers now. Zhang village is nothing. You're just jealous Yinchuan brought back good meat, and you want to steal some. We all know your village's character. You tried to jack up the bride price at the last minute. Shameless. Go ahead, try to smash our village. See what happens. Zhang Zilin, you swing first if you've got the guts. Otherwise, you're just a coward. The air was basically on fire when I showed up to watch the show. Before I could even figure out what was going on, Zhang Xiaomei spotted me and pointed. There he is, every single pair of eyes locked onto me. I looked down at myself, confused. Why is everyone staring at me? A grieving father snarled. Luo Yinchuan, you have the nerve to show your face? This is my village's hall. Why wouldn't I be here? I looked at Guohua. Uncle, what's happening? He snorted. They're saying you deliberately lured a bear to kill their hunting party. They want your life? I looked at Tuxing. Obviously his doing. Same family, same character. Xiaomei lies, Lu Dajiao lies, and Tuxing lies. They're cut from the same rotten cloth. So this is what you told them? Tuxing couldn't meet my eyes. Lu Dajiao screeched. You did it, and you know it. Guohua pressed Tuxing to repeat his story. Zilin got defensive. Don't try to intimidate my people. Guohua gave up and told me to explain. So I laid out what actually happened. I was hunting alone, couldn't find anything, wandered near Biling's edge, and ran into their group. My wolf accidentally stumbled into a bear's territory. I told them to run. They didn't. They wanted to hunt the bear. So I took my wolf and left. Lu Dajiao immediately twisted my words. Hear that? He admitted his wolf brought the bear. The deaths are his fault. We were right. Guohua fired back. Biling has bears. If you see one and don't run, that's your problem. He just said his wolf brought it. You're protecting him. I was incredulous. When did I ever say I brought the bear on purpose? But nobody was listening anymore. Luo Village thinks they can walk all over us? Fight. Yeah, let's go. I've wanted to smash these people for years. With several dead sons fueling the rage, Zhang Village's emotions were boiling over. Someone threw the first punch, and then it was a full-on brawl. Tables, chairs, stools, everything became a weapon. Crash bang, smash everywhere. Guohua started directing our side like a battlefield commander. Nobody from our village backed down. I stood there watching this absolute chaos unfold, completely dumbfounded. What in the actual? How did a normal morning turn into a two-village war? Just as I was standing there watching two villages beat the living daylights out of each other and having no idea what to do. Bang, bang, bang. 3 gunshots cracked through the sky. Everyone froze instantly. Guns are no joke. You pull out a gun, that means someone's ready to die. A military green Jeep rolled up, followed by a crawler tractor, an East Wind red brand, cutting-edge tech from 1958. A middle-aged man in military uniform jumped out of the passenger seat, holding a smoking Mauser pistol. Sharp eyes, stone-cold expression. What is this? A riot? Want me to call the security brigade? Guohua rushed over. Commissioner Sun, what brings you here today? This was Sun Benning from the County Materials Bureau, the guy who collects our village's production quotas. In the communal dining era, you don't get to keep what you grow. Everything goes up to the state for redistribution. The Materials Bureau controls the entire pipeline. Basically, this guy holds every village's survival in his hands. One word from him, collect a little extra, distribute a little less, and an entire village starves. He barked. Do you even know what day it is? Are you treating national regulations like a joke? Several hundred people went quiet as mice. Nobody dared breathe loudly. Guohua told me to explain since I was the one involved. So I told the real story. Every detail. I ran into Zhang Village's hunting party near Biling. My wolf accidentally disturbed a bear. I told them to run. They didn't. They wanted to hunt it. I left. Then I heard screaming, went back, and found them getting slaughtered. I shot out the bear's eyes and saved whoever was still alive. Then I escorted them back because in their condition, even a wild boar or snake would have finished them off. And instead of thanking me, they made up a story that I sent the bear after them. Then they came here to start a fight. This is basically the farmer and the snake, the old man and the wolf, the good Samaritan getting sued. My version was completely different from Tuxing's. People started looking at Tuxing differently. Commissioner Sun turned to Zhang Zilin. Well, what do you say? Zilin hadn't expected the two stories to be this far apart. He turned to Tuxing with a deadly serious face. Is what Yinchuan said true? Tuxing couldn't lie anymore. Not in front of a government official with a gun. He mumbled, yes. His whole plan had been to ride the wave of grief and anger, bring a mob to beat me up, and call it justice. He never expected the County Materials Bureau to show up today of all days. Sun looked at Zilin. Since that's the case, next month Zhang Village's resource allocation will be reduced by 10%. As punishment. Any objections? Zilin panicked. Full allocation is already not enough to eat. Minus 10%? That's a disaster. Commissioner, we were tricked by Tuxing. Punish his family, not the whole village. Sun was unmoved. Poor discipline is the village's failure. I've made my decision. And that's when Zhang village turned on its own. Some old bachelor yelled. Then I'm going to Tuxing's house to take my share. Me too. His family caused this. They should make up the difference. The united front of Zhang village crumbled in seconds. Everyone pointed their fingers at Tuxing's family. Lu Dajiao was hopping mad. You can't do this. Shut up, you old hag. I've been sick of you for years. If your family hadn't pulled this stunt, we wouldn't be losing our rations. You're paying us back. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful karma. Sun shouted them down. Enough. Take your drama home. Stop wasting my time. Dismissed. Zhang village scattered like birds. Guohua thanked Sun profusely. Sun just shrugged. I'm doing my job. Now show me the warehouse. After the excitement died down and everyone went to work, I remembered. The bicycle. Sun was heading to the county seat after lunch at the state restaurant. Perfect timing. I asked Guohua for a day off to go to the county seat. Didn't mention the bike. Sun overheard and said, ride with me. I'm eating lunch at the restaurant, then heading back to the county with the collected goods. Free ride to the county seat? Don't mind if I do. Free ride? I'm not saying no to that. After the supply handover was done, Sun invited me into the back seat of the Jeep. On the drive, he started chatting. Guohua tells me you're a legendary archer. 100 pace accuracy. No, he's exaggerating. Just lucky, Sun laughed. Excessive modesty isn't a virtue, kid. Several wild boars and a black bear in a few days? That's not luck. Then he asked about the Zhang family drama. How Tuxing almost became my brother-in-law. I told him the bride price story. He chuckled. Well, when they see you riding a new bicycle, they'll definitely see you in a different light. I'd rather they didn't. Can't afford that kind of attention. 2 hours later, we rolled into Xintian County. In my previous life, I don't even remember ever visiting the county seat. People in this era have tiny lives. Many never leave their village. Ever. Sun dropped me at the materials bureau. I thanked him and started exploring. Honestly, not much to see. It's a county seat, but it's barely a town. No shops lining the streets. Zero commercial activity. Everything goes through the supply cooperative. The county co-op was way bigger than the township one, though, with much more variety. A clerk came right over. What do you need, comrade? A bicycle. Some crop seeds. A carpentry tool set. Snacks. Oh, and do you have wine yeast? We have everything. The planned economy phase was technically winding down, so as long as you had tickets and cash, most things were available. Problem is, most people have neither. I went on a shopping spree. Bicycle, the big purchase. Rice seeds, for planting in the system space. Candy, sunflower seeds, peanuts. 2 big iron woks. And the wine yeast, because I've got a plan to brew alcohol. Out of my 169 yuan, I had 5 left. But in the village, 5 yuan is still a fortune. The rice seeds are key. I'm going to grow rice in the system space. Enough for family meals and enough to start brewing wine. With the Spirit Spring water accelerating growth, the possibilities are endless. Got the bike registered, stuck the ceremonial big red flower on the handlebars, and hit the road. Ding, ding, ding. That little bell on the handlebar, sounds like a tiny wooden fish drum, was turning every head on the road. I was feeling pretty proud of myself. This has nothing to do with mental age. A new bike is a new bike. It's just fun. 13 kilometers flew by in about an hour. Having wheels is amazing. Then, passing the big river near the village, I spotted Zhang Xiaomei washing clothes by the bank. She saw me too. Saw the shiny new bicycle. Her eyes went bright. And suddenly, like we were still dating, she called out in this sickeningly sweet voice. Ah, Chuan. I nearly swerved into the river. My whole body shuddered. The bike wobbled violently, and I had to grip the handlebars for dear life. Eyes forward, nose down, mind blank. I pedaled faster and got the hell out of there. Behind me, I could practically feel Zhang Xiaomei's brain calculating. He said he couldn't afford 100 yuan bride price, but he just bought a bicycle that costs at least that much? That liar. He's richer than I thought. I'm not letting him get away. I suddenly felt an inexplicable chill, like something predatory had locked onto me. Very uncomfortable. Ding ding. The bell announced my arrival in the village. Everyone was just finishing their workday, and a brand new bicycle attracts attention like a Ferrari in a parking lot. Is that a new bike? How much did it cost? No idea. Traded the bear paw for it. Someone in the county wanted it badly enough to swap me this bike straight up. I lied without blinking. Nobody knows what bear paws are actually worth, just that they're valuable. So, bear paw equals bicycle was totally believable. Half the village started scheming about hunting their own bear. I rode home, parked the bike, and headed straight to Guohua's house. Uncle Guohua walked in and set down a bag of candy and 2 bottles of Maotai on his table. Maotai back in 1960? Just regular white liquor. Same tier as cheap grain alcohol. A bottle costs maybe 1 or 2 yuan. Guohua saw the candy and Maotai on his table and blinked. Kid, what's all this? Went to the county, figured I'd bring back some gifts. He knew exactly what this was. Gifts for everyone means gifts for the village secretary. Nobody else is getting any. I didn't stick around, just whispered. Nobody saw me on the way here and bounced. Guohua got the message perfectly. The kid buys a flashy bicycle, then immediately shows up with expensive gifts before anyone can get jealous or suspicious. Smart move. He hid the bottles the second I left. On my way home, I ran into Dajuan. Brother Yinchuan, heard you got a bike. Congrats. I slipped him 2 white rabbit candies. Thanks. Work hard and you'll get one too. Dong Liang, meanwhile, was sitting outside his house sunbathing with his busted leg. The bicycle news had already reached him. When he heard I traded a bear paw for it, his face twisted so hard it barely looked human anymore. In his mind, if his foot wasn't ruined, he would have hunted the bear, and his foot was M.Y. Wolf's fault. Therefore, my bicycle should be his bicycle. Everything is M.Y. fault. Always. Sure, buddy. Now here's the part that made my skin crawl. Zhang Xiaomei went home from the river and announced, I just saw Luo Yinchuan on a new bicycle. The name, Luo Yinchuan, is basically cursed in their household now. Since rejecting my proposal, nothing's gone right for them. Lu Dajiao's reputation destroyed. Shua's hunting disaster. The whole village losing 10% of their rations because of their family. Lu Dajiao snapped. You still thinking about him? He rejected you. Have some self-respect. But then Xiaomei dropped the magic word. Bicycle. Suddenly everyone was listening. Shua's eyes started spinning. If he can buy a bicycle, then he definitely lied about not having 100 yuan for the bride price. Lu Dajiao was furious. That little rat played me. Then, in a stunning reversal, Lu Dajiao turned to Xiaomei and said, Do you still want to marry him? Xiaomei blushed. Actually, I've always been thinking about him. I was just afraid to say anything. Lu Dajiao's master plan came together instantly. Then go tell him you'll marry him. The bride price is just the bicycle. We'll give it to Shua so he can find a wife too. Will he agree though? Lu Dajiao puffed up. Of course. There's a saying, when a woman chases a man, there's only a thin veil between them. Just show up and confess. Worst case, you stay the night at his house. Once the rice is cooked, he can't take it back. Xiaomei agreed without hesitation. Took a bath, put on clean clothes, and headed for my village. Now, back at my house, I was helping Mom cook dinner while Dad built Xiaobai's doghouse with the new tools. Xiaobai was sitting by the stove, staring intensely at Mom cutting meat off a bone. I thought to myself, this is probably exactly how our ancestors domesticated dogs tens of thousands of years ago. Then, knock knock knock. Mom frowned. In a time when food is scarce, nobody visits at dinner time. It's unspoken etiquette. If you show up during a meal, the host either shares their food, painful, or doesn't rude. Everyone knows not to do it. A voice outside. Auntie, it's me. Zhang Xiaomei. Mom looked at me. I stared into the fire like it was the most fascinating thing in the world. Zero reaction. Knock knock again. Mom went to open the door. Xiaomei was standing there with a dazzling smile, speaking in that sugary sweet voice, looking all prettied up. Oh, Xiaomei, what brings you here so late? Despite everything with the bride price, Mom actually liked Xiaomei. Pretty girl, good manners when she wanted to be. When I'd come home saying the engagement was off, both my parents had been disappointed. And now here she was, showing up at our door at dinner time, all dolled up. I had a very bad feeling about this. Zhang Xiaomei sat down right next to me, tossed a stick into the fire like she belonged here, and in that sugary voice went, Chuan. Then she wrapped both arms around mine. It's the middle of summer. Thin clothes. My arms sank into. Well, let's just say that in all my previous life's courtship with this woman, we were never this physically close. Now look, I'm a man who lived 70+ years and came back. I'm not going to pretend I didn't notice. Since SHE grabbed me, I figured I'd enjoy the sensation guilt-free. She turned red and started breathing funny. Good feel? Absolutely. Do I plan to marry her? Absolutely not. She was thrilled, though. Thought the fact that I wasn't pushing her away meant I was still interested. Woman chases man. Only a thin veil between them, right? Well, there was only a thin veil between us. Her summer blouse, specifically. After a comfortable minute, I said, "All right, say what you came to say, then go home. We're about to eat dinner." How does a grown woman have zero awareness? Mom scolded me. Don't be rude. Xiaomei, stay for dinner. He'll walk you home after. Xiaomei pounced on the invitation. She'd already spotted the pork going into the wok. Her family doesn't have private cooking privileges. They eat communal meals of sweet potato shreds and wild greens. Zero meat. She wasn't leaving this table. Mom was delighted. In her mind, Xiaomei is perfect wife material. The traditional criteria were all there. She started showing off. This is wild boar from Yunchuan's hunt. Oh, and he killed a black bear and traded the paw for a bicycle. Even Dad couldn't take it anymore. Cleared his throat. Can we just eat? Xiaomei dove at the meat. One bite and her eyes rolled back, oil bursting in her mouth, the savory richness of Real pork. So good. Auntie, your cooking is amazing. She ate half the plate by herself. Finished, she burped contentedly and sighed. I wish I could eat Auntie's cooking every day. Mom was about to respond when I cut in. Don't get ideas. Finish up and go home before a wolf gets you on the road. I knew exactly what she was here for. And knowing what this family is really like, I wanted zero entanglement. Mom kept trying to play matchmaker, though, suggesting I walk Xiaomei home with Xiaobai for protection. Meanwhile, Xiaomei was glued to Mom's side, chatting her up, making her laugh, buttering her up like a professional. Dad went back to building the doghouse. I helped. Everything looked very domestic and harmonious, if you didn't know the actual situation. Hours passed. I was yawning, ready for bed, and this woman was still here chatting up my mother. It's late. Are you going home or not? Xiaomei, right on cue. Of course I'm going home. Unless you want me to stay, Mom jumped on that. Oh, just sleep in Yunchuan's room. He can sleep on the floor in the main hall. And then Xiaomei played her trump card, blushing shyly. Oh, I couldn't make Yunchuan sleep on the floor. I can squeeze in with him. My face went black. Are you insane? If people find out, my reputation is ruined. How am I supposed to find a wife? I'll say this one last time. Go home now, or sleep in the street. But you are not coming in my room. Mom tried to scold me, but I held firm. She gave up and told me to walk Xiaomei back. Xiaomei didn't force it. She knew tonight was just the opening move. In her mind, she had plenty of time to reel me in. Wrong. But she didn't know that yet. I walked her out. The moon was faint, everything pitch dark. Our villages are close, but our houses are about a mile apart with farmland in between. She clung to my arm the whole way, pressing against me with every step. Then we reached a cornfield, and she suddenly stopped. Yunchuan, can we rest here for a minute? Dark night. Empty fields. Man and woman alone in a cornfield. Yeah, I know exactly where this is going. We've walked like 50 steps. Stop being dramatic. Away from my parents, I didn't bother being polite anymore. But without an audience, Xiaomei got bold too. She grabbed my arm and tried to shove my hand down her shirt collar. Oh hell no. I've seen enough internet drama from the future to know this trap. She screams, harassment, witnesses appear, and suddenly, I'm the villain. Keep your hands to yourself. Xiaomei bit her lip and went full seductress mode. It's dark. We're alone in the middle of nowhere. You're telling me you don't want to do what all men want to do? No, why would I? In this era, with money, I can find any woman I want. Why would I hang myself on this particular crooked tree? I've got a whole forest of options ahead of me. Plus, this is 1960. If a man and woman get caught alone doing anything, it's social death. And I know, from living an entire previous life, that the second I touch Zhang Xiaomei, she OWNS me. This is a woman who cheated on me during our marriage, had 2 kids with another man, and then framed me for prison. She's capable of anything. When flirting didn't work, she started undressing. Just right there in the cornfield. Summer clothes are thin, so within seconds she was standing there in nothing but a red undergarment. When she reached for her pants, I turned to Xiaobai. Bite her, Xiaobai, Xiaomei, 3 seconds of hesitation. Then Xiaobai lunged at Xiaomei's backside, fangs out. Wait, you're actually... help. Xiaomei bolted toward Zhang village screaming bloody murder, barely dressed, with a wolf snapping at her heels. I strolled behind, smiling. Past life me would have crumbled instantly under this kind of offensive. But this me? I've lived through the pain, lived through the internet age, and know every trick in the book. Not a chance. Once she disappeared into Zhang village, I called Xiaobai back and went home. Didn't look back once. Now, at the Zhang house, Xiaomei stumbled in looking like a mess. Hair everywhere, clothes half off, drenched in sweat, face flushed, panting hard. Shuwa took one look and got excited. Sis, did you sleep with him? When can we get the bicycle? Tomorrow, his genius plan. Once I sleep with Xiaomei, I'm technically her man. He can demand the bicycle as family. If I refuse, they'll make a scene, both villages will pressure me, and worst case, I get charged with being a hooligan, which in this era can mean execution. Lu Dajiao was already calculating. Did you mention the bride price? 100 yuan minimum. And the bicycle goes to your brother. Plus chickens, ducks, a basket of rice. She was mentally already counting 100 yuan bills and dreaming about private meals. Xiaomei cut them off miserably. Stop fantasizing. Nothing happened tonight. She was still thinking about mom's stir-fried wild boar though. Real cooking oil. Soy sauce. Message. The village communal meals are just boiled vegetables with salt. But my mom's cooking? That was restaurant quality. Honestly, forget the bicycle. If marrying me meant eating meat every day, she'd say yes in a heartbeat. Shuwa deflated immediately. How are you this useless? You can't even seduce Luo Yinchuan. What about my bicycle? Lu Dajiao piled on. I raised you from nothing and you can't do one simple thing. Eating my food, wearing my clothes, and you can't even land a man? Shameless. Xiaomei clenched her jaw. I'll find another chance. Was she regretting refusing me? Oh, she was drowning in regret. In less than a month, my family went from scraping by to eating meat at every meal, cooking privately at home with seasonings most families can't afford. And I'm riding a bicycle, the only one for miles around. Everyone else walks hours to the county seat. I just pedal there ringing my little bell. Every time she thought about it, the regret got worse. If only she hadn't demanded that 100 yuan, she'd already be married to me, and all of this would be hers. Too late, sweetheart. Back home, I was getting ready for a bath when Mom ambushed me with, Yinchuan, I think Xiaomei really likes you. We could probably scrape together 100 yuan now, and you've got the bicycle too. How about I arrange another proposal? Mom's words hit me like a lightning bolt. I actually shuddered. Mom, no. What's done is done. I'm young with my whole life ahead of me. I'm not hanging myself on the same crooked tree twice. In my head, I got destroyed by this woman in my last life. If I let her destroy me again after being reborn, what was even the point of coming back? Mom slapped the back of my head. What kind of talk is that? Xiaomei is a perfectly good girl, lively personality, hard worker, good figure, pretty face. What more do you want? It's just 100 yuan. Mom, when did you start talking like a rich person? I bought one bicycle, and suddenly 100 yuan is nothing? I got lucky with that bear. It was half dead when I found it. Plus Zhang village wants to murder me right now. If I marry into their family, they'll literally tear me apart. She tried to argue more. I pulled out the nuclear option. I'm still young. Maybe I'll make it big and take you guys to the county seat. City girls are prettier and have better figures. Wrong thing to say. She exploded. Young? When I was your age, I'd already given birth to you. The neighbor's kid is a year younger and his child is already walking around. I grabbed my bath water and ran. Good night. Going to wash. Bye. Next morning, I was heading for the mountains when Guohua stopped me. Yinchuan, hold on. Old Lu from Lu village came by yesterday. They spotted a bear king near their settlement. Wants you to check it out. A bear king. A xiongba, the alpha of black bears. Bigger than normal bears by a whole size category, twice the weight. Nastier temperament, exponentially stronger. If one of these gets into a village, it could literally kill everyone. This isn't an exaggeration. A few years back, a bear king wandered into a village in winter, and they had to call in the military to kill it. Nobody messes with these things voluntarily. Old Lu heard you killed a black bear, so he figured you might be able to help. If you can kill it, great. If not, just chase it back into the mountains. It's too close to the village and it's harvest season. I nodded. Got it. Let me get the other hunters. No need. Against a bear king, numbers don't matter. I'll just go look. Guohua thought about it and agreed. That's exactly why Lu village asked me specifically. Their own hunting party has zero bear experience. I headed to Lu village with Xiaobai. Found Lu Huafeng, the village secretary, at their hall. Uncle Huafeng, he was thrilled to see me, then noticed it was just me. You came alone. He'd asked for our entire hunting squad. I patted Xiaobai's head. The wolf was standing waist-high now. I brought my partner. Huafeng nearly jumped. No wonder you can hunt bears. That's impressive. In a famine era where people can't even feed themselves, keeping a hunting dog is unheard of. Keeping a wolf? That's on another level entirely. I was excited. This was my chance to hunt solo and pocket everything. Where do you see the Bear King? He led me to the edge of the village, a small wooded hill, barely 3 or 4 meters high, maybe 3 acres of trees. Farmland on one side, mountains on the other. Way too close to the village, especially during rice filling season with farmers everywhere. Villagers reported the Bear King was closest right around here. Probably came down from the mountain. I'll check it out. You go back. Don't push yourself. I drew my bow, knocked an arrow, and entered the grove with Xiaobai. Kept thinking, if only I had that Type 56 rifle, I could just shoot the Bear King and be done with it. Searched the whole grove. No Bear King. Just a pile of dung on the ground. I poked it with a stick, already hardened. At least 2 days old. Disappointing. The bear had already moved back into the mountains. I looked up at the mountain range in the distance and felt annoyed. Why couldn't you just stay put and let me hunt you? So inconsiderate. Well, nothing to do but follow. I hacked a path up the mountain with my machete. About a mile in, I was deep in real forest. That's when Xiaobai, silent the entire time, suddenly took off sprinting ahead. My heart jumped with excitement. Thank God for my 6 attribute points and body stats, because keeping up with Xiaobai at full sprint was barely possible even with them. After crashing through thick brush, I found it, a bare paw print on the ground. Basketball-sized. Finger-deep indentation. 500 pounds at least. That's a Bear King all right. My brain immediately started calculating profits. The skin alone, make a full bear hide coat for winter. Bear paws, gallbladder, all worth serious money. Plus hundreds of pounds of meat for stockpiling before winter. Up here, snow starts in October and doesn't melt until March. People starve every winter. I need reserves. My plan was simple. Xiaobai harasses the bear, keeps it distracted, and I shoot it full of arrows from a safe distance. Kite it to death. Wolves can't beat bears in a straight fight, not even close. But a wolf can hit 70 kilometers per hour versus a bear's 50. With Xiaobai's attribute points, running circles around the Bear King was doable. Xiaobai tracked it down quickly. The beast was scratching its back against a tree, rubbing the bark clean off. I gave the attack order. Xiaobai howled and charged. The Bear King roared a territorial warning. We ignored it. Xiaobai closed in, then pulled a sharp left at the last second, dodging the bear's swipe and circling behind it. The bear couldn't touch Xiaobai. Too slow, too bulky. I let them spar for a while. Good training for Xiaobai. Real combat experience is irreplaceable. Then I stepped out from the grass, found an open spot, drew my bow, and prepared to finish this. That's when everything went wrong. The Bear King spotted me, realized I was the real threat, abandoned Xiaobai completely, and charged straight at me. OHSH, 6 attribute points or not, I absolutely cannot outrun something moving at 50 kilometers per hour. Getting hit by 500 pounds at that speed? I could double my stats and still get flattened. Running was pointless, so I stood my ground and fired. First arrow, straight into its open mouth. The Super Hunter system doesn't miss. But a 40-centimeter arrow against a 2-meter bear? It hurt it. It didn't stop it. Just made it angrir. 2 bounds, and it closed from 20 meters to right in front of me. In that window, I fired 3 more arrows, 2 into its mouth, 1 into its face. If I'd had a Type 56 rifle, its skull would have been shattered. But arrows just don't have enough stopping power against something this massive. The Bear King went absolutely berserk. Its eyes were practically glowing with murderous intent. 5 meters away. 1 swipe and I'm paced. Xiaobai came flying in from the side and chomped down on the bear's tail. The bear roared, whipped its tail, and sent Xiaobai sailing through the air like a rag doll. My wolf slammed into a tree trunk and crashed to the ground. The impact sound alone made me think its spine was broken. I used that split second to retreat a few meters. The bear, now tailless and bleeding, didn't even look at Xiaobai. It came for me again. I fired another arrow. Hit its head. Not a kill shot. Not even close to a vital spot. My palms were sweating now. Had I gotten cocky? Thought having a system made me invincible? Came out here alone to fight a bear king? The stench of blood and rot hit my nostrils. The bear leaped into the air above me, claws and jaws ready to end my life. I turned and ran. Pure instinct. Didn't even think about whether I could outrun it. Just ran. 2 steps. Warm, bloody saliva splattered onto the top of my head. It was right on top of me. This is it. I'm done. I shouldn't have come alone. I got greedy. Got stupid. Wanted the money too badly. 1,000 thoughts flashed through my mind. Would I get reborn again? Go back to my old world? See my parents one more time? Then, weight pressed down on both my shoulders. 2 massive paws. Every thought in my head stopped. Right before I thought I was dead, I looked back. It wasn't the bear king on my shoulders. It was Xiaobai. My relief lasted exactly half a second. Before I could even form a smile, the bear king's massive jaws clamped down on Xiaobai's back and launched my wolf into the air. Xiaobai had sprinted in at the last possible moment, thrown itself between me and certain death, and taken the bite meant for me. I heard bones crack. The whole thing happened in a blink. But that blink saved my life. The bear king was barely a meter away now, mouth still open, 2 of my arrows sticking out between its teeth, fangs gleaming like they were made of cold steel. I switched from bow to machete in an instant, gripped it with both hands, jumped with everything I had. Every ounce of 6 attribute points worth of strength channeled into one single downward strike. Die. The blade hit the bear king's neck and went clean through. Its head rolled off and tumbled across the ground for a good 10 meters. The 500-pound body crashed down behind it. I stood there, drenched head to toe in bear blood, machete dripping, gasping for air that tasted like iron and rot. The moment the danger was gone, all the strength left my body at once. My legs wouldn't even hold me up. After a few breaths, only one thought remained. Xiaobai. I remembered the sound of that bite. A bear king's jaw strength is no joke. Xiaobai could literally be in 2 pieces right now. We hadn't been together long, but the bond was real. Deep. I tried to sense Xiaobai through our mental connection, the way I always could. Nothing. My heart dropped into my stomach. Grief and panic hit me like a wall. Xiaobai? Xiaobai. The grass here was nearly head height. I circled the area 2, 3 times, calling out desperately. Then, a faint, pitiful whimpering. I sprinted toward the sound. The mental connection flickered back to life. Tears poured down my face. The feeling of almost losing something and getting it back. I can't even describe it. I found Xiaobai lying on the ground. A massive chunk of flesh was torn from its back, wound deep enough to see bone. Blood everywhere. If the bear hadn't bitten the iron back, the strongest part of a wolf's body, Xiaobai would already be dead. But even so, at this rate, it wouldn't survive much longer. No vet clinics in 1960. No animal hospitals. Was I just going to watch my wolf die? Then, 3 system notifications hit my brain in rapid succession. Ding. Killed adult wild black bear. Special attribute points 5. Ding. Total attribute points exceeded 10. Hunter shop activated. Ding. Hunter shop activated. Received 100 shop coins. 5 points from 1 kill. And the shop is finally open. But more importantly, the spirit spring. I grabbed Xiaobai, threw it into the system space, and dunked it straight into the spirit spring. The crystal clear water turned red with blood instantly. I didn't care. And then, a miracle. Xiaobai's face, twisted in agony, slowly relaxed. The pain was fading. The spring was healing it. I cried with relief. As long as the spring could keep Xiaobai alive, I didn't care if the water was contaminated. Once I confirmed Xiaobai was stable, I checked out the hunter shop. It looked like a League of Legends item shop, grid layout, items with names and prices. Categories across the top: consumables, attack, defense, skills, other. A few locked categories too. Consumables had 2 items: wound medicine, small, for 10 coins, and wound medicine, medium, for 100 coins. Attack had a longbow and basic arrows. Defense had cloth armor and a shield. Skills was where it got interesting. 5 skill books: wilderness survival, medical arts, disguise, appraisal, and, I kid you not, Wolyungye brewing technique. All incredibly useful. All way too expensive for me right now. Other had just 1 mysterious item. No time to browse. I spent all 100 coins on the medium wound medicine and pulled Xiaobai out of the spring. The bleeding had already stopped from the spring water alone. The medicine bottle looked like a tiny bottle of medicated oil, but when I opened it and poured, it kept flowing until every single wound on Xiaobai's body was coated in white paste. Then the bottle vanished from my hand. Huh, smart bottle. Xiaobai lay there looking almost comfortable. The medicine was clearly working. Rest here and heal up, I told it. I need to go deal with that bear. I went back to the Bear King's body. The head was a mess, arrows sticking out everywhere. But the body itself? Pristine. Well, except the missing tail courtesy of Xiaobai. I started mentally dividing the spoils. The skin, big enough for 2 bear-hide vests, one for mom, one for dad. Winter up here is brutal, and these would be lifesavers. The meat, hundreds of pounds, all getting turned into jerky for my private reserves. The paws, try selling at the ghost market first. Eat them myself if nobody's buying. Then the real prize, the gallbladder. I cut it out carefully. Long oval shape, almost 20 centimeters, dark surface with a subtle shine. Held it up against the sun, semi-transparent upper half, with dark greenish granules inside. That's the gallbladder kernel, iron grade. Not bad at all. Bear gallbladders come in 4 tiers: gold, iron, vegetable, and oil. Gold is the best, amber-colored, translucent, brittle. Iron is second, dark black or dark green, hard and crisp. I got iron. Not the jackpot, but I'm not complaining. I didn't bother butchering the body on site. Just shoved the entire carcass into the storage space. In there, it'll stay exactly as is, forever. Pulled the arrows out of the head, thought about it for a second, and tossed the head in two. I'll feed it to Xiaobai later. Let the wolf get its revenge personally. Now, I was covered in dried blood, and the smell was making me gag. I'd spotted a pond earlier, so I went straight there and dove in. Summer bath in a mountain pond. Pure bliss. Washed the blood off my skin easily enough. The clothes, though? Ruined. Good thing I'd bought 2 sets of Dacron fabric outfits in the county. Changed into fresh clothes and burned the old ones in a campfire. While resting and eating jerky by the fire, I checked the new system properly. 5 fresh attribute points from the Bear King kill. My total earned had now crossed 10, which triggered the shop. The shop clearly isn't complete yet. Lots of empty spaces and locked categories. Probably more upgrades coming, though I don't know the trigger conditions. And I have no idea how to earn more shop coins either. Gotta figure that out over time. My biggest concern was Xiaobai. If the medium wound medicine wasn't enough to fully heal it, I'd dump all 5 new attribute points into Xiaobai without hesitation. Finished eating, doused the fire thoroughly, and headed back to Lu Village to report to Uncle Huafeng. How'd it go? Did you see the Bear King? Yeah, it's massive. Way bigger than a normal bear. But I tracked it deep into the mountains, about 10 miles, over 2 ridges. It probably chased some prey downhill and has already gone back to its territory. Shouldn't bother the village again. Huafeng let out a huge sigh of relief. He'd never expected me to actually kill it, just scare it away. This was the best outcome he could have hoped for. Stay for lunch. I'll have my wife cook you something nice. No thanks, uncle. Neighbors helping neighbors, that's all. Gotta get going. Deep down, I was itching to get home and check on Xiaobai, plus I had bare paws and a gallbladder to deal with. No time for social lunches. Back at my village, I gave Guohua the same story. Bear King went back into the mountains on its own. Didn't mention the killing. He was pleased, made him look good in front of the neighboring village. Told my parents I was heading to town, hopped on the bicycle, hit the supply co-op for some daily necessities, then went to the ghost market to find Brother Kuan. I've got 2 sets of Bear King paws and an iron-grade gallbladder. Find me a buyer. You get 20% of whatever they sell for. When I set down the carrying pole, pulled back the grass covering the baskets, and casually mentioned what was inside, Kuan's scalp practically tingled. He peeked in. For massive, dark bear paws. Bigger and thicker than normal ones. Bear King. No question. Where'd you get these? The mountain, obviously. You think I pulled them out of a hat, he laughed. If you could conjure bear paws from thin air, you'd be dining with government officials, not hanging around my little ghost market. Fair point. How do you want to sell them, he asked. Here's the thing. Last time I had 1 paw, which is basically just a single dish. Hard to sell. But 4 paws from a Bear King? That's a full bear banquet. Completely different value proposition. 600 for the 4 paws. Plus I've got an iron-grade gallbladder. Bundle deal, 1,000 yuan total. You know these are once-in-a-lifetime items. Kill 10 bears and you might not get a single iron-grade gallbladder, 1,000 yuan. For context, the famous writer Lu Xun bought an entire courtyard house in Beijing for 3,000. This is serious money. Kuan tried to haggle. Then I'm not selling. Goodbye. I stood up and headed for the door. Ichiwai, come on, don't be like that. You quote a price, I counter. That's how business works. If I accept your first offer, I look like a fool, I smiled. Nobody's watching. Stop performing. 1,000, not a fun less. Take it, or I'll try the county seat. You're killing me, he caved. Fine. 1,000. But I don't have that much cash. Some of it will be in ration tickets. Works for me. Tickets are basically currency in this era. Sometimes better than cash. Some things you literally can't buy without them, no matter how rich you are. He sent number 5 in to make me tea while he went to get the money. Funny how a few days ago this guy was trying to rob me, and now he's serving me tea with a smile. Life comes at you fast. 15 minutes later, Kuan came back with a cloth bundle. Inside, a pile of cash and ration tickets. I counted everything. Correct. Pleasure doing business. Stuffed the bundle in my pocket, actually into the storage space, and stood to leave. Oh wait, my Type 56 rifle. Fighting the Bear King had hammered one lesson into my skull. I need a real gun. My bow, even with attribute points, just doesn't have enough killing power against something that massive. With a rifle, I could have ended it in seconds. Xiaobai would never have gotten hurt. Kuan said quickly, I know. I'm actively looking. He was way more motivated now than before, because the Bear King paws told him something. This kid can hunt bears that normally require the military to handle. And he does it alone. Whatever connections Kuan needs to make to keep me happy, he'll make them. I left the ghost market in an excellent mood. 1,000 yuan. 1,000. 2 weeks ago, I was stressed about scraping together 100 for bride price money. Now I've got over 1,000 in my pocket. Life's ups and downs are absolutely wild. Did I overprice or underprice the paws and gallbladder? Honestly, no idea. These items are so rare there's no market price to compare against. But 1,000 yuan means my family eats well for a long time. That's good enough. I stopped under a big tree and let Xiaobai out of the system space. It had been inside for almost half a day, which means over 6 months had passed in there. The wolf had eaten through most of my stored meat reserves. But the real shock? Xiaobai looked perfect. No visible injuries at all. Just slightly uneven fur color where the wound had been. The Spirit Spring plus the medium wound medicine had pulled off an absolute miracle. And this was only the medium tier. Whatever the large wound medicine does must be absolutely insane. I grabbed Xiaobai and spun it around in circles, laughing like a maniac. You're healed. I'm so happy. Oh, whoa. Let's go home, buddy. I hopped on the bike. Xiaobai ran alongside. The setting sun stretched our shadows long across the road. A man on a bicycle and his wolf, heading home. Meanwhile, Kuan was loading up the paws and gallbladder onto a carrying pole, hopping on his own bike with number 6, and pedaling straight for the county government office. Destination, County Magistrate Ma's residence. I walked in carrying a full load of supplies on a shoulder pole, and Mom immediately started nagging. Didn't you just buy stuff a few days ago? Stop wasting money. You need to save for a wife. I broke into a cold sweat. Money is for earning, not hoarding. And even if I wanted to get married, I'd need a girl who actually wants to marry me. Mom fired back. What about Zhang Xiaomei? She came to talk to me. Her family agreed. Just 100 yuan bride price, nothing else. The moment she mentioned Xiaomei, my whole body recoiled. Mom, please forget about Zhang Xiaomei. You think her family are good people? Remember when their entire village showed up to start a brawl? Her brother led that. They picked a fight with a bear, got people killed, and blamed me. If I marry into that family, we'll never have a day of peace. Dad walked out and backed me up. The boy's right. The Zhang family's character is rotten. With Dad on my side, I stood up straighter. See, Mom? And with my current prospects, you really think I can't find a wife? Mom rolled her eyes. Look at Mr. Confident over here. But she dropped the Xiaomei topic and turned her attention to what I'd brought home. You sold all 4 bear paws? What about the skin? Keeping it. I'm making you and Dad each a bear hide vest for winter. Oh my. Since when does my boy care about his old mother? We had braised Bear King loin for dinner. Over 2 pounds of it. 3 of us cleaned the plate. Incredible. After everyone was asleep, I entered the system space. The 2 ginseng plants and 1 lingji were growing nicely. Almost half a month had passed outside, which meant over a decade of growth inside. They could be harvested now, but I wasn't hurting for money anymore. I'd let them grow to 50 years before selling. Much more valuable. 1 acre of black soil with just 3 little plants was basically wasteful. That's why I'd bought seeds. Time to farm. The system space has its own weather, seasons, everything. A complete little world running at 365x speed. Our region grows 1 rice crop per year. In the system space, that's 1 crop per day. My ultimate plan: grow grain and brew alcohol. The hunter shop has a Wolyangya brewing technique skill book, but it costs 2,000 coins. Killing a bear king only gave me 100. That's going to take a while. For now, I planted rice across the acre, irrigated with spirit spring water, and set an alarm for midnight. The start of a new year in the space. Seeds in, then sleep. Tomorrow morning, harvest. Next day at the village hall, Guohua brought over a middle-aged man and introduced him enthusiastically. Yinchuan, this is Director Wu Pingfan from the Maoli Township Cotton Mill. I had no idea what this was about. The cotton mill is our township's only factory, 200 employees. But what does that have to do with me? Wu shook my hand warmly. Comrade Luo Yinchuan, nice to meet you. Guohua explained. Wu was his old army buddy. Guohua had mentioned my hunting exploits over drinks, and Wu had an idea. The factory just landed a big order requiring overtime, and he wanted to reward his workers with meat as compensation. He needed 700 pounds of wild boar. Buying that much pork through official channels would be a nightmare. Quotas, meat tickets, bureaucratic reports. But wild boar? That's outside the state supply system. Cheaper too. Before I could even respond, Guohua jumped in. This is a state assignment, not capitalist trading. You can take the money with zero worries. Wu laid out the terms. 300 yuan budget, 700 pounds of meat only. No heads, no innards. 3-day deadline. I did the math fast. 700 pounds of clean meat means hunting about 1,000 to 1,200 pounds total. Adult boars average around 200 pounds each, so I'd need 5 or 6 boars in 3 days. That's a challenge. You can't just order wild boars to show up on schedule. Sometimes you find nothing all day. Sometimes you run into a whole pack and can't handle them alone. But 300 yuan, that's real money. Deal. I'll do it. Wu beamed. I knew I picked the right guy. Guohua puffed up with pride. My hunting had made our village the envy of every settlement for miles, and as village secretary, he got to take credit. I turned to him immediately. Uncle Guohua, just tell me, where are the wild boars thickest around here? Guohua teased me. Why do you get so fired up about money? Your political consciousness needs work, kid. I put on my most patriotic face. What do you mean? I just want to contribute to socialist construction. Getting our worker comrades fed with meat is my duty. I have zero interest in money. Then let me hold the cash for you. Let's not go that far. After the banter, Guohua told me the key intel. If you want that many boars in 3 days, go to Fragrant Flower Well. I spotted a wild boar nest there earlier this year. At least a dozen, easy. Was thinking about setting traps there myself. A whole nest? My eyes lit up. Before, hunting was just about food. But now with the hunter shop full of expensive goodies I can't afford, every kill means coins and attribute points. I need those boars. I'm heading there right now. Wild boars breed like crazy. In my previous life, the government spent the entire 2000s trying to control the boar population, almost classified them as protected animals, and then within 10 years they'd exploded again. In 1960, with no population control at all, there must be millions of them. I called out to Dazhuang, come with me. We'll hunt extra. I'll give you a whole boar to take home. This was an official job, and wild boar didn't excite me anymore, so no need to be secretive. Plus I needed someone to do the heavy lifting. Dazhuang was thrilled. He'd been dying to hunt with me ever since the bicycle incident. Kid wants his own flashy ride moment. Dong Liang, leaning on his crutch, couldn't resist being snarky. Just 2 of you for something this big? I looked him up and down. The crutch, the bandaged foot, and smiled. Why? You want to come? He exploded. Stop with the smart comments. If it weren't for you, would I be like this? I turned my back on him. Let's go, Dazhuang. Then I addressed the other hunters standing around. Anyone who wants to come, come. If you work, you eat. Uncle Guohua, that's fair, right? Absolutely. Whoever works gets meat. Just don't forget the village collective share. That counts as work points. Normally I'd solo this, but with a quota to fill and no need to hoard privately, more hands meant faster work. Plus, if I kept eating alone and never sharing, people would start scheming against me. Rural jealousy is real. Better to bring everyone along. Let them have some meat and keep the peace. The money, though? That's mine. Non-negotiable. Everyone prep up. We leave at 9. I rolled up my sleeve and checked my brand new seagull wristwatch. Dazhuang's eyes nearly popped. You got a watch? It's so nice. I played it cool. Nothing special. Just helps me know what time it is. Everyone was staring at my wrist with undisguised envy. In this era, there's a saying about what marks a wealthy household. 3 spins and 1 sound. A watch, a bicycle, a sewing machine, and a radio. Even city workers can't afford all 4. And here I was, a village kid, already rocking 2 of the 3 spins. Could I buy a sewing machine too? Easily. Just don't have the right ticket yet. The radio's the real problem, not the cost. But there's no electricity in the village. Useless without power. Everyone went to get ready. Not much to prep really. Bow, arrows, machete, and tie your pant legs tight with straw rope. That last one is important. Keeps thorny plants from scratching you and stops blood-sucking bugs from crawling up your legs. As we marched out looking like a proper hunting squad, Dong Liang watched from the sideline, burning with jealousy, but completely helpless. I could practically hear him mentally swearing. When my leg heals, I'll take everything back. Sure, buddy. Guohua shooed the spectators away. Show's over. Get to work. Then he noticed the educated youth were missing. Again, where are those 5? I haven't seen them in days. A village girl who was friendly with Xiao Yuanyuan said, they're studying, preparing for next year's college entrance exam. They only came here as educated youth because they failed the exam this year and didn't want to work. Guohua's face darkened. They came to the countryside to insert themselves into rural life. Not studying, not working. Are we supposed to just feed them for free? I respected them as educated people, but that's not an excuse for laziness. Go tell them, no work points. No work points, and no food. Meanwhile, back at the educated youth compound, those 5 were just hanging out chatting, not a single book in sight. When the village girl Luo Xiaoying showed up to tell them Guohua wanted them at work, Xiao Xiao went off. U.S. Manual labor? We're intellectuals. We have college entrance exams next year. One of the male educated youth puffed up. Your village should feel honored we chose to come here. Making us work? If we fail the exam because of this, can he afford to compensate us? Xiaoying tried to warn them. No work means no work points. No work points means no food. They basically laughed in her face. She gave up and left. When Guohua heard they refused, his face turned to stone. Oh, they want to negotiate. Let's see how they like going hungry. But that was their problem, not mine. I had boars to hunt. We reached Fragrant Flower Well, a valley surrounded by 4 mountain peaks, about a dozen acres, with a pond in the center surrounded by wildflowers. Beautiful spot. Also apparently crawling with wild boars. I gathered everyone and laid out the plan. Uncle Guohua said there's a boar nest here. If we find it, we'll be facing a whole group at once. Rule number 1, stay together. Don't give them a chance to pick us off. We can't outrun or outlast wild boars, so we use terrain and weapons. We only need 4 or 5 to complete the job. Anything extra is bonus. Don't get greedy. Step 1, find the nest. Step 2, don't alert them. Find cover, climb trees. Step 3, Xiaobai drives them toward us. Step 4, we unleash everything. Xiaobai opened its mouth silently, a nod without sound. Everyone stared in disbelief. Brother Yinchuan, your wolf literally understands you. What if we accidentally shoot Xiaobai? I laughed. If any of you can actually hit Xiaobai, I'll consider your archery training complete. Xiaobai went toe-to-toe with a bear king. These guys' archery skills couldn't touch it if they tried for 100 years. We descended into the valley. Xiaobai tracked the boar's scent and led us to the nest. It stopped and nudged my leg. Target located. This is it. Find your positions. Trees, rocks, whatever cover you can get. When Xiaobai flushes them out, fire. Everyone scrambled. Xiaobai didn't charge straight in. It circled wide around to the back of the nest. Smart wolf. It was going to drive the boars directly toward our firing line. The guys were drooling watching this. A hunting companion this intelligent? In an era where nobody can afford to keep hunting dogs, priceless. Focus up. We either finish this in one burst, or we deal with a stampede of angry pigs. Ready? Everyone drew their bows. Dead silence. About 100 meters away, beneath a dirt mound, the boar group was rooting around for food. Two big adults, 200 to 300 pounds each, black bristles like steel needles, long sharp tusks. Plus 5 piglets with yellowish striped fur. Quick note, adult boar meat is dry and tough. With skin on, you need to stew it for hours. But piglet meat? Tender, juicy, no gamey smell. Completely different eating experience. Oh woo. Xiaobai's howl ripped through the valley. It burst from the grass behind the nest, and the entire boar family stampeded in a panic, straight toward us. From my perch in a tree fork, I looked down at the incoming herd. 2 adults and a bunch of piglets. Not enough for the 700-pound order. I need more hunts. But I wasn't letting these 2 big ones escape. Deep breath. Full draw. Release. The bow was Dad's old one, but with an attribute point boost, it hit way harder than anything the other guys carried. One adult boar dropped instantly. Nice shot. That was the signal. Every hunter on every tree and behind every rock let their arrows fly simultaneously. A rain of arrows poured down on the boar group, saturation bombardment. At this range, with this many shooters, accuracy didn't even matter. The boars got turned into pincushions. Within moments, every single boar, big and small, was on the ground. The whole thing took less than 5 minutes. From the boars appearing to every single one hitting the ground. Saturation fire is beautiful. Everyone jumped down from their positions, grinning ear to ear. That's gotta be several 100 pounds. I never imagined hunting wild boar could be this easy. Xiaobai is a genius. I was happy the tactic worked, but the numbers weren't enough. Only 2 adults, maybe 300 pounds of clean meat between them after removing heads and innards. The piglets barely counted. Not even half of Wu's 700-pound order. All right, process the 2 big ones first. Those go to the factory. The piglets, 1 per family. Then we keep hunting. Nobody complained. Piglet meat is way tastier than adult boar. Tender, juicy, no gamey stink. Everyone was thrilled with the split. This is exactly why they came along. Half an hour later, everything was butchered and packed into baskets. I hung the leftover innards on a tree branch as an offering to the mountain, a traditional sign of respect for the wild animals that share this territory. Xiaobai, you're up again. The wolf tilted its head, acknowledged the order, and took off running. The other hunters watched with pure envy. Must be nice having a hunting partner like that. I'd love a hunting dog, but I can't afford to feed one. The village won't give a dog food rations, and if you don't catch anything, the dog starves too. Only someone like Brother Yinchuan who never comes home empty-handed could keep a wolf fed. I did a little modest gesture, hands raised, gently patting the air downward. Come on, we're all brothers here. Keep working hard. Good days are ahead. Xiaobai found another boar nest within minutes. Everyone was pumped. Here we go again. Let's finish this and go home to eat. They were getting cocky after the first easy win. Feeling invincible. That's dangerous. Enough chatting. Same formation. Find your trees. Wait for my signal. This is not a game. My tone shut everyone up. They climbed into position. Soon we heard them, thundering hooves. 5 adult boars came crashing through the brush, driven by Xiaobai straight into our kill zone. Everyone was excited and nervous. 5 full-sized adults. If we took them all down, the job was more than done, with plenty of meat left over for the village. Big money right here. I can already taste tonight's dinner. I was grinning too. Didn't expect it to go this smoothly. Complete the order, pocket those 300 yuan. I crouched on a thick branch, drew my bow, and let fly. Everyone else followed. Arrow rain, round 2. But this time all adults. Thick skin, thick muscle. 3 went down. The other 3, arrows sticking out of them, screamed and bolted. Our bows just didn't have enough punch for one-shot kills on mature boars. After confirming it was safe, everyone dropped down. Damn, 3 got away. Bows just can't cut it against the big ones. If Uncle Guohua brought his rifle, I felt the frustration too. A Type 56 in my hands? Not a single one escapes. Every shot, every kill. But bows are bows. Still, 2 from the first group plus 3 here. 5 adult boars total. Getting 700 pounds of clean meat from that? Absolutely doable. Lucky day? They gave us 3 days, and we finished in one. Let's process these and head home. We butchered everything by the pond, loaded up, and grabbed some innards for personal consumption. Xiaobai was so stuffed it couldn't eat another bite. Could I have stored the leftovers in system space? Sure, but I still had bare meat in there. Pig scraps weren't worth the space. We made it back to the village while the afternoon work crews were still out in the fields. I found Guohua, who was shocked to see us already. Back already? Got lucky. Found a boar nest. All the meat's here. Get a scale and weigh it. Then call the factory to come pick it up. That fast. He could barely believe it. Nobody got hurt. Not a scratch. The terrain was perfect. All bow kills from above. 3 got away though, which is annoying. Hey Uncle Guohua, lend me that rifle next time. Guohua was relieved nobody got hurt and didn't care about the 3 that escaped. But when I asked about borrowing the rifle again, his head shook so hard it could have generated electricity. Too dangerous. You don't know how to use it. What if it backfires? What if it goes off accidentally? Same answer everyone gives. I wasn't surprised. So I said, half joking, fine, I'll go get my own gun then. Go ahead. You just gave me permission, you know. Yeah. Now stop talking. And help me weigh this meat before it rots. We weighed everything out on the village scale. 5 adult boars, minus heads and innards, came to just under 800 pounds. Cut out 700 for the factory, not much left for the village, but still better than expected. I'd originally estimated needing 6 boars, and 5 got the job done. Loaded up a cart with straw padding and 700 pounds of pork and guohua, and I pushed it all the way to the Maoli Township cotton mill. Red brick walls, iron gates, old man on guard duty. Guohua handed the guard a cigarette, one I'd bought him, and the old guy practically ascended to heaven after one puff. He went to fetch Director Wu. Wu came out, eyes glowing when he saw the meat. I said 2 days, and you did it in 1. Lucky day at Fragrant Flower Well. He disappeared and came back with the money. 300 yuan, cash. I immediately peeled off 100 and handed it to Guohua. Here, your cut. What for? You did the hunting. Without your introduction, I never would have gotten this job. Call it an information consulting fee. Well, if you put it that way, Uncle will accept. This is how the game works. Guohua is my biggest asset in this village. Keep him happy, keep him fed, and he turns a blind eye to my wolf, my bicycle, my family eating meat every night. Who else in this village buys him cigarettes, liquor, and candy? Just me. Why would he ever make my life difficult? 100 yuan is cheap insurance. Since you're being so generous, Guohua said, brightening up, let me buy you dinner at the state restaurant. Inside, the place was nearly empty. Barely anyone around here can afford to eat out. Guohua ordered 2 dishes, handed over meal tickets, and a yuan 50. Standard stuff. Then Brother Kuan walked in with number 5 and number 6. He spotted me immediately. Yinchuan, what a coincidence, he called out to the kitchen. Old Zhang, put their table on MY tab. I waved him off. Already paid. He sat down and greeted Guohua like an old friend. Turns out they already knew each other. Village secretary and the local underground market boss. Of course they know each other. Then Kuan's eyes lit up like he just remembered something. He sent number 5 running. Go get the black cloth package from my desk. That's something my brother Luo has been waiting for. Guohua watched this exchange with interest. I could see the gears turning in his head. So that's how Yin Chuan got the bicycle ticket, sold the bear paws, found all those connections. Through Kuan. The only question he couldn't answer was how I'd met Kuan in the first place, and why Kuan treated me with such respect. A while later, number 5 came back, carrying a black bundle. Kuan placed it on the table and pushed it toward me. Your special order. Took me quite a bit of effort to find this. I unwrapped one corner, and my heart nearly leaped out of my chest. A Type 56 semi-automatic rifle. The gun. The one I'd been begging for since my first visit to the ghost market. The weapon that would have made the Bear King fight last 5 seconds instead of nearly killing me. How much? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Kuan waved his hand dismissively. What money? That would be disrespectful between brothers. It's a gift. A Type 56 semi-auto in good condition? That's worth at least 100 yuan on the street. And Kuan just gave it to me. Oh Kuan, you're too generous. How could I possibly accept? I was already cradling the rifle like a newborn baby as I said this. Someone once said guns are an extension of a man's power. Whoever said that was absolutely right. Then Kuan dropped the catch. The gun is free. but I need something in return. A complete sable fur. Undamaged. Guohua's eyes went wide. Those are incredibly hard to get. Sables are tiny, about 40 centimeters long, 2 to 3 pounds, crazy fast, insanely agile, and smart enough to avoid most traps. They're basically furry little ninjas. A perfect sable coat was worth thousands even in the old Republic era. Even now, top-tier clients will pay absurd money for one. Kuin said his client specifically requested it. And out of everyone he knew, he thought I had the best shot at getting one. I said, deal. Then he had number 5 and number 6 bring in a green wooden crate, about the size of a small suitcase. 1,000 rounds of ammunition. 1,000 rounds plus the rifle? This man was investing in me. Food arrived. Guohua waved everyone to the table. Eat first, talk later. I told Kuin I'd head into the mountains tomorrow to start looking. I'd taken his gun. I wasn't going to drag my feet. Plus, if Kuin had clients wanting sable fur, this could become a regular income stream. Hunt furs, make money. Beautiful. After dinner, I slung the rifle over my shoulder, loaded the ammo crate onto the cart, and pushed home with Guohua. Halfway back, Guohua suddenly said, "Let me fire a couple rounds." "What?" "The village guns are ancient relics. This 56 is the newest thing I've ever seen. Let me try the feel." I handed it over. He fumbled with it for a minute, figured out the safety, aimed at something I couldn't even see, and fired one shot. That's got kick. Then he ran over to where he'd aimed and came back holding a dead sparrow. My jaw dropped. "Uncle Guohua, your aim is that good?" I hadn't even noticed the bird on the tree. He smirked proudly. "Trained when I was young. Here, take it home for a midnight snack." Back at the village, I stored all 1,000 rounds in the system space right at the front gate. Dad spotted the rifle the instant I walked in. "Where'd that come from?" I told him the whole story. He just nodded and said, "Be careful. That thing's got serious power." I held up the sparrow. "Shot this on the way home. Let's do it for a late-night snack." Next morning, I went to find Dazhuang. "Hey, want to do something fun?" "What kind of fun?" "We're going sable hunting." His whole body stiffened with respect. Everyone knows sable fur is worth a fortune. One perfect pelt, and your family eats well for a year. But catching one, that's like saying, "Let's go mine gold." Sure, great idea, except nobody can actually do it. These things are tiny, lightning fast, and smart enough to dodge every trap. And the fur has to be undamaged. A torn pelt is worthless. I told Guohua we were heading out, and Dazhuang and I hit the mountain. Could I do this alone? Sure. But having your own people in the village matters. Dazhuang is my closest ally. If I'm building a crew, he's first pick. Sables are nearly impossible to track in summer. In winter, you can follow their footprints in the snow to find their burrows. But in summer, they're at peak activity, darting around constantly, leaving minimal traces. That's why Kuin hadn't been able to source one through anyone else. But I have the super hunter system and a telepathic wolf. The odds are slightly in my favor. Dazhuang spotted the rifle on my back. "Where'd you get that?" "Did Uncle Guohua actually lend you his gun?" "Nah, this one's mine. Bought it at the black market in town." His eyes went huge with envy. "I want one too." I grinned. "Stick with me, kid. Buying a gun will be the easy part." Dazhuang was practically vibrating with excitement about the gun promise. "I'm following you from now on, Brother Yinchuan. Permanently." Then he asked about sable hunting techniques. I gave him the winter playbook. Find their footprints in the snow, follow the trail to their burrow, carefully dig out the entrance without making any noise. You get one shot, literally. The second a sable detects danger, it's gone forever. Experienced hunters go for the one-strike total wipeout approach. Dazhuang's eyes were already full of dollar signs. "I'm gonna learn this and get rich this winter. 10 pelts, and I'm 1,000 yuan man. Bicycle, new house, everything." I had to rein him in. Theory is theory. Practice is practice. If it were that easy, sable fur wouldn't cost this much. Now, in summer, normal hunters have basically zero chance of finding sables. But I'm not normal. After careful searching, we spotted one, sitting on a tree branch about 100 meters away, looking like an oversized squirrel that had just eaten and was napping. These things are tiny. One sable pelt is basically enough for a coat sleeve. You need 8 to 10 pelts for a full coat. That's why they're expensive, hard to catch, and you need a lot of them. 100 meters away, no scope on the rifle. For a regular person, just hitting it at this distance would be considered expert marksmanship. let alone hitting it without damaging the fur. I unslung the Type 56, chambered around, and aimed. Dazhuang was standing next to me, squinting so hard his eyes were practically closed, fists clenched, jaw tight, whole body tense. More nervous than me. Bang! Birds exploded out of the grass. Small animals scattered in every direction. The tree branch was empty. Did you hit it? Did you hit it? Go look. He sprinted over and found the sable lying on the ground. You got it. You got it. He picked it up, examined it from every angle, and his jaw dropped. The bullet had entered through the chin, traveling upward into the skull. The fur? Not a single hair damaged. Brother Yinchuan, your aim is insane. Most people would be thrilled just to hit it. And you put the bullet through its chin? The pelt is completely perfect. I just smiled mysteriously. Can't help it. The perfect hunting attribute is just that broken. Mission complete. Let's head back, process the fur for Cohen, and eat the meat ourselves. It's small, but hey, even a mosquito leg is still meat. Dazhuang protested. We just got here. Can't we stay longer? This little bit of meat won't even feed my family. I'd also just gotten the rifle and my trigger finger was still itchy. Fine, let's butcher. The sable here, roast it, eat, and then go find something bigger. Now we're talking. We found a pond, carefully peeled the fur off without a scratch, and cleaned out the innards. While I handled the sable, Dazhuang dug a fire pit and gathered wood. Gotta say, for physical labor, this guy is a machine. I skewered the sable on a stick, set it over the fire, and pulled out seasonings from the system space. Salt, chili powder, and everything I'd bought specifically for outdoor cooking. Finally getting to use them. The smell hit within minutes. Dazhuang was literally drooling. For a guy who considers plain meat a luxury, I was out here adding salt and chili powder. That's practically illegal levels of deliciousness. I made a sauce brush from a small branch, completely natural, and started basting. Half an hour later, golden brown roasted whole sable. Crispy skin. When I cut it with a knife, there was this satisfying crack like breaking through ice. I sliced it in half and handed one piece to Dazhuang. Eat. He'd been suffering for 30 minutes watching this cook. He grabbed it and shoved it straight into his mouth. Ah, hot, hot, hot. The boiling meat juice nearly scalded his tongue off, but he refused to spit it out. Rolled it around his mouth for a solid 10 seconds, going, ha ha ha, until it cooled enough to chew. I laughed. You can't eat hot tofu in a hurry, genius. It's sizzling. And you just went face first into it. Too good, he mumbled through a mouthful. He wasn't wrong. Charcoal roasted wild sable with proper seasoning? Absolutely incredible. Even I could barely pace myself. We demolished the whole thing, put out the fire, and got up to go find our next target. We were walking along the edge of the lake, stuffed full of roasted sable, when Dazhuang spotted ripples on the water surface. Something's over there. Let's check it out. The lake wasn't a clean circle. It twisted around with trees blocking the view. I glanced at Xiaobai. No reaction at all. Usually it alerts me to prey. Was this thing so stuffed from eating it couldn't be bothered? Note to self, never feed the work animal too well. We crept around the bend and, oh, it wasn't prey. It was a girl, bathing, in the lake, completely naked, hiding in the shade of a big tree, which is why we hadn't seen her from our side. Dazhuang's eyes went wide. He licked his lips and whispered, that tree is really white. I put on my most serious responsible adult face. A young woman alone in the wilderness. This is extremely dangerous. I think we have a duty to go over there and protect her. I started walking toward her. Never seen this girl before. Must be from another village. But that figure was genuinely impressive. Not that anyone can get fat in this era. When nobody's overweight, baseline attractiveness goes up for everyone. Then some guy's impatient voice ruined everything from another direction. Tang Xingwan, are you done yet? The girl panicked, ducked deeper into the shade, and called out. Almost. Almost, she scrambled. Out of the water, and she was wearing nothing. Clearly hadn't expected anyone to be watching. And I couldn't help but mutter in genuine appreciation. That is really white skin. Like. Flawless. She threw her clothes on with impressive speed, wrung out her wet hair, and called. Okay, come out. 4 or 5 young men emerged from behind some bushes. Dazhuang whispered, that's Tang Village's hunting party. The leader is Tang Yu, the village secretary's son. I know him. Then, Tang Xingwan is really pretty though. I frowned. Wait, they brought a girl on a hunting run. Hunting runs are deadly. People die regularly. You bring your best fighters, not girls who strip down for baths in unprotected lakes. One water snake and she's finished. Dazhuang asked if we should go say hello. I had zero interest. No. Let's go this way. You sure we shouldn't just? You go. I'll wait. You're not going? Then. Nah. I won't go either. I suggested we swim instead since the girl had proved this area was probably safe. We stripped down and jumped in. The cool mountain spring water on a blazing summer day? Incredible. Underwater, I spotted a little crucian carp swimming past and snatched it with my bare hand. Tiny thing, barely bigger than a thumb. Tossed it into the spirit spring in the system space. Crucian carp grow painfully slow. 5 years to reach 1 kilogram in the wild. But in the system space? 5 days. And crucian carp soup is one of my all-time favorite dishes. Crucian carp braised with frozen tofu on a snowy winter night. Big iron pot over a wood fire. Bowl after bowl of hot soup before bed. Absolute paradise. I caught 3 more crucian carp and 2 green fish underwater before calling it. All right, let's get out, find one more thing to hunt, and head home. We just finished getting dressed when, help, the scream nearly gave us both heart attacks. Dazhuang fumbled his arrows onto his back and grabbed his bow. I pulled out the Type 56 and went on full alert. Crashing footsteps and rustling leaves, getting closer fast. Then Tang Village's hunting party burst into view, every single one of them sprinting with pure terror on their faces. Tang Yu spotted us and screamed, "Run! Tiger!" Dazhuang's face went chalk white. A tiger, the king of the forest. Me? My eyes lit up like Christmas. I actually grinned. Nice of him to warn us, though. What a good guy. Dazhuang was losing his mind. Good. We need to run. Before he finished that sentence, a massive orange-striped beast exploded out of the jungle and tackled the last person in Tang Village's group flat onto the ground. Tang Yu and the others skidded to a halt, faces frozen in horror. The tiger pinned the hunter down with both front paws, opened its enormous jaws. Everyone stood paralyzed, watching. Tang Xiaohua, this was a textbook Siberian tiger. Massive, well-fed, clearly eating good lately. But tigers don't care if they're full. You enter their territory, you're a threat. Period. Tang Xiaohua was pinned under those giant paws, staring into the tiger's open mouth with pure despair on his face. He looked at his companions in the distance. Save me. Nobody moved. Because of course nobody moved. It's a tiger. Going up there is just volunteering to be the second course. Tang Qingwan. Turns out Xiaohua is her little brother. Was crying, calling his name. She'd begged everyone to let her come on this mountain run for fun. If her brother died because of that, she'd never live it down. The tiger raised its head and roared. I raised the Type 56 and fired. Bang. The roar cut off mid-breath. Give this tiger credit though, Forest King for a reason. 2 bullets to the head, and it still tried to turn and run. Most animals drop after 1 headshot. This beast was trying to escape. 3rd shot, also to the head. 3 rounds, all in the skull. The tiger finally collapsed with a thunderous crash. Ding. Killed adult wild Siberian tiger. Special attribute points 6, coins 200. 6 attribute points and 200 coins. The coins are new, started coming after the shop unlocked. So hunting now gives both attributes and currency. Good to know. I'm going to grind my way to that brewing technique skill book. 2,000 coins is a lot, but at 200 per tiger. Tang Yu ran up to me, grabbed my hand, and shook it gratefully. Amazing shooting, brother. Thank you. I'm Tang Yu from Tang Village. What's your name? Luo Yinchuan. Luo Village. Xiaohua was still on the ground, shaking. Am I not dead? His sister was crying happy tears. No injuries, just sore from having several hundred kilograms of tiger land on him. Lucky kid. Meanwhile, the Tang Village guys had already surrounded the tiger carcass and were pulling out knives. I could hear them calculating profits. Tiger skin, tiger bone, tiger bile, tiger. Well, everything on a tiger is worth a fortune. They were about to start butchering my kill. Hey guys, I said calmly. That's not really appropriate, is it? Their smiles vanished instantly. What do you mean? We didn't do anything. Yeah, we helped too. We lured it out. It's a group kill. We all get a share. Ah, agreed. The eternal human motivator. I looked at Tang Yu. What do you think? He squirmed. Well, obviously you shot it, Brother Luo, no question. But we did risk our lives drawing it out. I picked up the Type 56 and held it casually. Let me ask you something. If I hadn't fired, how many of you would have survived? Silence. One thing at a time, he mumbled weakly. Dazhuang snorted. Yinchuan just saved your lives, and now you want his kill too? Where do you people get this kind of shamelessness? Then Qingwan spoke up, the girl from the lake. Tang Yu, they saved my brother. If Xiaohua had been eaten, none of you could explain that when we got home. This tiger belongs to Comrade Luo Yinchuan. Tang Yu immediately pivoted. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Sure it was. I walked over to the tiger without another word. The Tang village guys were clearly unhappy, but they'd also seen what 3 bullets from my rifle did to a Siberian tiger's skull. Starting beef with me out here in the wilderness? With that gun? Nobody was that stupid. A tiger is valuable, but your life is more valuable. Dazhuang, let's move. Dazhuang was grinning so wide his face might split. He pulled up handfuls of grass, braided rope, wrapped the tiger's body in vegetation, and we started dragging it toward home. Behind us, I could hear the Tang village hunters grumbling. Tang Yu, we're really just letting them take it. Dazhuang and I started dragging the tiger toward home. 400 or 500 pounds of dead weight through mountain terrain. This was going to take a while. 30-something miles to the village. No way we'd make it before dark. What I didn't realize at first was that behind us, Tang Yu was already scheming. See, the way I found out about all this later, from Qingwan herself, Tang Yu had no intention of letting us keep that tiger. 1,000 yuan worth of parts, split among his guys? That's 100 each. Life-changing money. The plan was simple. Follow us, wait until nightfall, then jump us and take everything. Qingwan tried to stop them. We can't do this. He saved Xiaohua's life. This is repaying kindness with betrayal. Tang Yu wasn't having it. The tiger came out because of us. He just pulled the trigger. We deserve our share. Since he wants to eat alone, he can't blame us for being unkind. Then he got in Qingwan's face. Ice cold. I like you, Qingwan. But if you mess this up for us, I'll make your life miserable. Xiaohua, still shaking from nearly being eaten, tried to stand up for his sister. Tang Yu's guys grabbed him and shoved him back down. One slapped him across the face. The kid who'd just been saved from a tiger was now being bullied by the people who were supposed to be his teammates. Then Tang Yu realized the siblings could become witnesses. If they went home and talked, everything would come out. He needed insurance. He turned back to Qingwan with a twisted smile. If we take the tiger, will you report us? She hesitated, just a moment too long. That's all the answer I need. He grabbed her shirt and ripped it. You're going to become my woman right now. If you go back and talk, I'll tell the entire village what happened here. All reason was gone. He was leaning toward her neck with those cracked, disgusting lips. Xiaohua saw what was happening and exploded. Adrenaline burst through his battered body and he launched off the ground, breaking free from 2 grown men holding him down, sprinting straight at Tang Yu. But 2 more guys tackled him and slammed him back to the earth. That's when Dazhuang and I stepped out of the bushes. I pressed Xiaohua back down, gently, and said in my most casual voice, "Young man, the world is such a beautiful place, yet you're so angry. That's no good. No good at all. Now, the reason I came back was simple. Dragging a 500-pound tiger 30 miles with just Dazhuang? We'd get home at midnight, in a mountain forest, at night, where anything could attack us. I needed those Tang village guys as free labor. But when I walked back to where I'd left them, what I found made my blood boil. Qingwan was on the ground with Tang Yu on top of her, ripping her clothes. Her brother Xiaohua was pinned down by 4 hunters, screaming helplessly. Tang Yu's plan was disgusting but calculated. Violate Qingwan to guarantee her silence. In this era, a woman's purity means everything. If people found out what happened, Tang Yu might face punishment, but Qingwan's life would be destroyed. She'd be mocked, shamed, and harassed for the rest of her existence. It was blackmail through the most vile method possible. Qingwan was crying, fighting, but losing strength. About to give up, I fired the Type 56 into the air. Bang! Every single person froze. They'd been so busy watching the show that nobody heard me approach. Then I lowered the gun and put a bullet through Tang Yu's thigh. He screamed and rolled off Qingwan, blood soaking through his pants. I swung the barrel toward the hunters holding Xiaohua. Let him go. They released him instantly. Xiaohua scrambled to his sister, kicked Tang Yu a meter away, then jumped on him and started pounding his face with both fists. Left, right, left, right. Each hit landed with a solid crack. I let him get some good shots in, then pulled him off with one hand. He's not worth dying for. Kill him, and you go to prison. Xiaohua gave Tang Yu one more savage kick and went to hold his sobbing sister. I looked at Tang Yu writhing on the ground and spat. Pathetic. I pointed the gun at two hunters. You two, take him home. Get him to a doctor. They didn't say a word. Grabbed Tang Yu and bolted. The rest of you, go drag my tiger. Now. Under the black eye of the rifle barrel, nobody argued. They marched toward where Dazhuang was waiting. 30 miles of mountain road hauling a massive tiger. That's exactly the kind of punishment these scumbags deserved. I'd originally felt a tiny bit guilty about commandeering them as free labor. After what I just witnessed, zero guilt. They should be thanking me for not putting bullets in all of them. Xiaohua thanked me for saving his sister. I just nodded and walked away. He asked if they could come with us. I didn't answer, but they followed anyway. After everything that happened, those two had zero courage to go back to their own village alone. Can't blame them. Dazhuang saw the Tang village hunters coming and figured I'd convince them to help. He started to say something polite, then saw my face and shut up. What happened? Tell you later. He spotted Xingwan with her torn clothes and Xiaohua's beaten-up face and put two and two together. His face went dark with rage. Move it. Did I say you could walk that slow? Are your ears stuffed with chicken feathers? The hunters picked up the pace without a peep. We reached the village outskirts just before dark. The hunters practically bowed to us and sprinted away like their lives depended on it. Dazhuang screamed after them. If I ever see you again, I'm beating you on sight. Then I told Dazhuang, take the siblings home safely. I'll handle the tiger. He understood exactly what I meant. The tiger was not going to the village collective. If it entered the village, it becomes shared property. I didn't waste a bullet saving Tang village idiots just to donate 1,000 yuan tiger to the commune for free. Dazhuang's face lit up with pure joy. Got it. I'll drop them off and come right back to help. Xiaohua and Qingwan followed Dazhuang toward Tang village like zombies, completely shell-shocked. Can't blame them. Their own villagers just tried to rob us and assault Qingwan in the same afternoon. The moment all three disappeared from sight, I looked around, confirmed nobody was watching, and, whoosh, sucked the entire tiger into the system space. Sat on a flat rock, letting the evening breeze cool me down, thinking about how to handle this gold mine. A tiger is worth a fortune no matter what era you're in. That's when a gray shadow materialized beside me. Xiaobai, you coward. Where'd you run off to? The second the tiger appeared earlier, Xiaobai had vanished like smoke. Pure genetic terror. Wolves are hardwired to flee from tigers. I didn't blame it one bit. Even if Xiaobai had charged in, it would have been a snack, nothing more. Honestly, I was impressed by my wolf's flexible moral compass. Getting more human every day. Xiaobai whimpered and made little apologetic noises. I rubbed its head hard, grinning. It pushed its big face into my hand, half apologizing, half enjoying the scratches. Night fell. Animal roars echoed from the deep forest. Owls screeched in the distance. Then, heavy breathing from the trail. I'm back, Dazhuang gasped, clearly having sprinted the whole round trip. He looked around. Wait, where's the tiger? Hidden. Found a spot nearby. We'll get it tomorrow and take it to be processed. He didn't question it. One thing though, don't tell anyone about the tiger. Dazhuang nodded but looked worried. Paper can't wrap fire forever. If the village finds out we kept a whole tiger private, we're in trouble. So what? If they want one, they can go hunt a tiger themselves. I won't be jealous. He gave me a thumbs up. Fair point. We stumbled home in the dark. Dad scolded me for being out so late. Normally hunters stay overnight in mountain shelters rather than walk through beast territory at night. Dad, funny you should mention it. I actually did run into a tiger today. I told the family everything. Dad listened carefully and nodded. Take it to the county tomorrow. The government might actually give you a commendation. I blinked. Go through official channels? Then I realized, it's 1960. No wildlife protection laws. Tigers eat people. Killing one isn't a crime. It's a public service. I might actually get a medal for this. Good idea, Dad. Next morning, I was still asleep when Dazhuang barged in at 7:30, grinning ear to ear. Still sleeping? The sun's already up. This guy followed me everywhere. Bathroom, face washing, breakfast. Squatting beside me while I ate, watching me with puppy dog eyes and a big stupid grin. Can you stop following me around like a dog? You're a tiger killer. Once word gets out, People will be lining up to follow you like dogs. No shame whatsoever. I gave up and finished eating. We headed out with a cart. I ducked into a hidden ravine, pulled the tiger out of the system space, and called Dazhuang over to help load it. Even with both our strength, getting several 100 pounds of dead tiger onto a cart was serious work. Dazhuang was beaming the whole time. This thing is huge. Definitely a tiger king. We started pulling the cart toward the county seat. The road passed through farmland and several villages. Farmers were already out working the fields. Hey, what's that on their cart? It's dark reddish. Holy, is that a tiger? They killed a tiger. Come look. Within seconds, people were running from their fields to get a closer look. Within minutes, farmers were swarming the cart from every direction. Holy crap, it is a tiger. Biggest one I've ever seen. Dude, it's the only one you've ever seen. They walked alongside us, pointing and whispering. I didn't think much of it, but Dazhuang?